Anytime's great for football, but I know when it feels just right.
I'm gonna kick back, relax.
Watching football on a Friday night.
It's Friday!
And we're gonna be hard to take.
Eagle roll!
It's Friday.
Coast to coast.
The CFL is Canada's game.
We're all kicked up to booty!
And we ready for a fight. Kick back, relax.
Watching Friday night football.
The boys are all back. Playing CFL football.
The game is up for grabs.
It's Friday night football tonight.
With Davis Alexander still nursing a hamstring injury, the veteran McLeod Bethel Thompson steps in tonight, making his first start of the season. MBT stepping in last week, going 6 of 8, 77 yards, keeping Montreal undefeated on the season. And speaking of veterans, Bo Levi Mitchell once again putting up impressive numbers, 640 yards passing in just 2 games, but still looking for that elusive first victory. Will it finally be tonight? It is Friday Night Football on TSN. Kate Burness alongside Dave Naylor, Enoch Mwamba, and Wynton McManus. We will get to the singing of Friday Night Football in just a minute. But first, Wynton, look, we've got the dominating Montreal Alouettes rolling into Hamilton, who are looking for their first victory. Can the Ticats make it happen tonight?
I don't want to say they can't make it happen because anything is possible. Not to say that I do want them to make it happen. But, you know, they would have to come out and play some really good ball. They would have to force some turnovers and be able to match Montreal's defensive energy and match the turnover ratio that these guys are putting out. Not necessarily, I don't think, about scoring as many points, but not allowing Montreal to score as many points and try to have some fun on defense.
You know, there are high expectations at Hamilton this season, especially what they did in the offseason. New general manager, not a lot of new players in. Scott Milanovich had now been there for a little while. And yet, if you told Hamilton at the start of the year, you're going to get to play Montreal, you're coming off a bye, and their quarterback's not there, you got to think that they'd say, we'll take that, right? So, you know, we got a little recency bias here that it feels like maybe Montreal is going to be tough to beat here. But I think if you go back a little bit, that's a deal Hamilton would have taken. Now they got to get it done.
Listen, you have Bo Levi Mitchell. You have Kenny Lawler as well. You always have a chance. And I like their chances tonight. I know it's tough and it's difficult, but if there's a team that's going to be able to defeat this defense, it's going to be those 2 guys. I mean, you got Bo Levi Mitchell, who's seen everything that is to be seen on the football field in the CFL. So if anybody can do it, it's going to be him tonight. But I'm looking at Devin Veresluk tonight, and he is going to have a big game starting on defense.
And I'm looking at the one and only Wynton McManus tonight because he's going to get another shot at this Friday Night Football tonight.
Kick back, relax.
Nicely done. Nice rhythm. Nice rhythm.
Come on, Wynton, everyone.
They're the
That's
only team that can beat them. They're not.
Theodore Mattis of Mission, BC. This is your chance to win big thanks to Save on Foods' $1 Million touchdown to win. If a kickoff is returned for a touchdown, you could win groceries for a year. If 2 kickoffs are returned for touchdowns, you could also win $1 million. Good luck, Theodore. Let's get you to Hamilton and join Marshall Ferguson and Dwayne Ford.
Thank you so much, Kate, and welcome to the Hammers. The Tiger Cats are looking for their first win of the season, and no better way to do it than against the undefeated Montreal Alouettes. Marshall Ferguson alongside Dwayne Ford, Claire Hanna at field level for us here throughout the evening, and Bo Levi Mitchell. Dwayne, he's had so much success in his CFL career. His winning percentage as a Tiger Cats quarterback, though, not stacking up to his time in Calgary. He's going to try to change that here tonight against a very difficult defense.
Yeah, absolutely. As Bo Levi Mitchell continues his quest to become the fastest quarterback in CFL history, to reach 100 victories as a starting quarterback. But more importantly, Marsh, as you alluded to, does not want his Tiger Cats to start this season 0-3, looking for a big win. Meanwhile, on the other sideline, McLeod Bethel Thompson makes his first start as a Montreal Alouette, came over via trade during the offseason from the Edmonton Elks. Davis Alexander is down. It'll be Macbeth's show tonight.
Jason Moss running with McLeod Bethel-Thompson as his quarterback, and he would love to have Davis Alexander out here tonight, but no choice but to move forward after the hamstring injury to their starter, and their now franchise quarterback is Scott Milanovich. Genuinely believes that this is the team that he expected it to be at the start of the season, although says, you know, we got some limitations we didn't see coming. We got some guys that have strengths that we didn't see coming. We will figure it out on the fly. They're in a better place than they were last year, but they're still winless as we head into week number 4 as the opening kickoff is returned by Wooden across the 30 and wrapped up, brought down as Nate Beauchemin, the rookie out of the University of Calgary, makes the play. And out comes Bo Levi Mitchell as he's still in search of that win number 100.
Yeah, and good numbers for Bo Levi Mitchell. A similar story to the early portion of last year, throwing for over 300 yards in his starts. But the Tiger Cats still looking for wins. Obviously, taking care of the ball, avoiding those turnovers is going to be huge. As you heard Luke Wilson say in the pregame, Kenny Lawler prime target if they can get the protection against this Montreal front.
Greg Bell out tonight with a calf injury. That means Johnny Augustine starts as the running back, but they'll split out wide to begin this ball game. They'll look inside as Anthony Litre gets the puck inside to the 40-yard line. Gain of 3, and the Tiger Cats starting offense. Bit of a different look in that backfield next to Bo.
Yeah, and we'll start with that offensive line. Some continuity there. Brandon Revenberg, of course, the leader of that group, perennial all-star in the Canadian Football League. Trayshawn Ward will get the start at running back. We expect to see a little bit of Johnny Augustine, a little bit of Ante Litre as well, with Greg Bell out of the lineup this week.
Bouncing around Kenny Lawler, you see there, number 89, leading receiver on the Tiger Cats early in the season. They'll go to the outside, diving to make the grab, Tim White, and just shy of the stick, so early decision time for the Tiger Cats offense in their icy gray uniforms here on a Friday night.
And you see Mitchell getting the ball out of his hands quickly with a free man coming down the pipe. Good recognition by both quarterback and receiver to adjust to that blitz.
Scott Milanovich doesn't flinch as he sends off Kenny Lawler and Tim White to the sideline. Checks in a little bit of extra meat, and Ante Litre goes at quarterback on 3rd and 1. Stacked up immediately. Did the Montreal defense get a stop? Stacked it right at the line. No signal to begin. And Isaac Ediemi Berglund right there, Noel Thorpe, defensive coordinator for the Alouettes, had the best look at it.
And we'll get a great look from above here.
Not much of a push there, Dwayne.
No initial movement. You got to believe from that look, it certainly looked like he was stopped short.
So the sticks come out, and they'll walk it off for every link as Scott Milanovich watches on anxiously. And it looks like they're going to pull this, and whoa! It's an early turnover on downs. Montreal gets the stop.
A huge stand for that Montreal defensive line. Front 7 that has been such a story through the first month of the 2025 season.
Alouettes defense, second in the CFL, allowing only 18.7 points per game so far. And great starting field position here for McLeod Bethel-Thompson after the front stands tall against Hamilton and forces what's supposed to be an explosive Tiger Cats offense off the field. So Bethel-Thompson at the controls for Davis Alexander, hands it off. Sean Thomas Erlington slides down immediately, and McLeod Bethel-Thompson at the end of last week filling in for Davis Alexander. Had a pretty decent output, but says he missed the momentum at the end of the game, wanted to carry that over into this week.
Yeah, and you got to recognize for McLeod Bethel-Thompson on a team with a new starting quarterback, for him coming in as a veteran backup, not a ton of reps to be had in training camp, so he's still learning on the fly a little bit.
Blitz on from the Tiger Cats, shot over the top as a flag is up as well. Dropped into the bucket there for Charleston Rambo, but Jamal Peters on the spot knocks it away, and let's see what the laundry's all about. As referee Richie Miller is on the call here tonight.
Offside. Montreal number 85. That penalty is declined. Third down.
So Tyler Snead makes his way to the sideline for the Alouettes, and these teams trading early possessions. But a field position win, no doubt, for the Montreal Alouettes after the turnover on downs.
Cats with 2 receivers deep, trying not to let this ball get on the ground, trying to avoid getting pinned here by a Jonathan Zima punt.
And using Tim White back as well, mixing and matching one of their leading receivers. A little bit of speed in the special teams unit. And it'll drop over the head of Isaiah Wooden Sr. after a 50-yard punt. And so an early 1-0 lead here for the Montreal Alouettes. Bo Levi Mitchell back at the controls, needs 337 passing yards to reach 40,000 in his illustrious career. We'll see if he can do it on Friday Night Football. Bo Levi Mitchell back at the helm here and back at home. Last time we saw him, it was before the bye week, which was week 3, and of course back in week number 2. Pretty decent numbers, as you said off the top, Dwayne, 300+ yards, but just trying to find a way to make it stick in the win column.
Yeah, and it's finding that consistency, taking care of the football. You know, doing a nice job spreading things around. I know much talk about the chemistry with Kenny Lawler. He seems to be finding his way with Tim White, which had been always a question mark through their first couple of years together.
Mitchell looks outside, quickly this time connects, and it's an easy completion to Tim White, who steps out of bounds, who leads all Hamilton Tiger Cats receivers with 11 of Bo's 40 touchdowns thrown as a Hamilton Tiger Cats quarterback.
Yeah, they get White out wide here. You're going to see nobody near him. Coverage backs off. Good decision by Bo. I know he wants to push that ball deep, but if they're going to give Tim White that kind of space, absolutely take the low-hanging fruit.
I'll tell you what, if Lorenzo Burns is going to bail out like that, how about you have a 300-yard passing night just going to Tim White on little curl routes to the outside. This time, they'll go to the bubble screen, try to get it once again to White, slips down around the 55-yard line, and the Montreal Alouettes starting defense, one of the very best in the Canadian Football League.
Yeah, and a guy who has really stood out to me this season, Isaac Adeyemi-Berglund, in his second season with the Alouettes after starting his career in Calgary. He just seems to get better and better. Tyrese Beverette, the former Tiger Cat, has, of course, been a star these last few seasons in Montreal. And keep an eye on that safety spot. Marc-Antoine Dequoy won't always be deep in the middle. They find him at the line of scrimmage making a nuisance of himself.
Likes to wander all over the place, as do many of these Alouettes defenders. And a little double move this time, trying to take it right down the chute. And incomplete, looking for Keandre Smith. The Canadian out of Guelph will force the punt the first time here this evening for the Tiger Cats after their early turnover on downs.
Yeah, a couple Alouette defenders near, but looked like Keandre Smith had half a step on them. Bo Levi Mitchell tries to go over the top, right down the middle of the field. Dequoy got turned around a little bit there. Tight window, just unable to connect.
Classic Alouettes defense, though. Lining up everybody. Oh, no, actually everyone bailed out. And all of a sudden, Bo is staring down 9 people in coverage, trying to find any little window that he possibly can. That is the chess match here tonight. Hamilton's offense, Montreal's defense. The veteran quarterback against Noel Thorpe, the veteran defensive coordinator, as this will drop down to James Lesher Jr. And he gets popped immediately. The special teams coverage right there on the spot. Only a 39-yard punt, but trying to find a way as McLeod Bethel Thompson heads back onto the field in 2024 with the Edmonton Elks. 3,700 yards, 24 touchdowns in 16 games. His 24 touchdown passes ranked only second to Bo Levi Mitchell. His 4th year in the Canadian Football League and his first as the full-time starter, but it only took 4 weeks until Davis Alexander was hobbled and heading to the sideline.
Yeah, it looked like the sniper got him there. The hamstring went as he was on the rollout. Was moving around on the sidelines through the rest of the game, but obviously the Alouettes having a lead throughout in Edmonton last week. They don't want to take any chances with their starting quarterback, who by the way, is undefeated as a CFL starter.
7-0 to begin as McLeod Bethel-Thompson. His replacement slings it to the outside and quickly chopped down. Trying to get it out there. It was Travis Tice on the edge, but nothing doing. As the Hamilton defense makes the big play, and the Montreal starting offense tries to answer now on second down.
Yeah, this offensive line, keep an eye on left guard Pierre-Olivier Lestage. This is the guy who sets the tone in terms of physicality for that group. In the receiving core, Austin Mack out of the lineup this week, which I anticipate will mean a few more looks for Cole Speaker.
I think so. To the outside, they go to Speaker on cue as he gets wrapped up and thrown down well short of the sticks. And the Hamilton defensive secondary making plays early on, as well as Devin Verazuk, who flies out from that middle linebacker spot. Second overall pick, getting his first start here tonight in the Hammer.
Yes, sir. Bethel-Thompson. Couple of quick hitters here in the early going for him, but veterans in the Hamilton secondary. You saw Jonathan Moxey on first down, Deshaun Amos over from the Toronto Argonauts in free agency on second down.
No longer is it a bunch of first and second years in this Hamilton secondary. They've loaded up on veterans, but still trying to find that chemistry as the early season continues, as Hamilton gets possession back. Wood Sr. dances his way around the 45-yard line after a 49-yard punt. Minimal return. Good coverage there from the Montreal Alouettes as the Alouettes 2-0 against the East try to keep that rolling here tonight in the Hammer. There is Scott Milanovic trying to dial it up for the Hamilton Tiger Cats offense. Last in the league with just 49 rushing yards coming into this one. Luke Wilson has an eye on that early.
Yeah, you know, I love coming out. You win the coin toss to take the ball. If you're an offensive guy, that's what you want. It just didn't really work out. And I don't think it was necessarily a scheme thing. If you look at the first play here, it was very, very fascinating on what they tried to do. Basically, you take your running back, you motion out, Sankey goes up with him, you bring in your fullback Litre, and you run that inside zone, you just get beat up front. So again, when you scheme it up on this first 15 and you ask for the ball, you're in a tough spot. And then, of course, here comes your traditional Noel Thorpe blitz pack at 7-up. Kai's coming. We missed that. It's a great catch. A phenomenal catch. And then a tough 3 and out here because we can't get the QB sneak with the fullback. I will say, if you look here, Kenny Lawler is the inside slot at the top of your screen. He's taken 2 guys. It's not double coverage, but they're very, very sensitive to getting beat deep by Kenny. So right now you make that adjustment and you throw underneath all day if they're going to play Kenny Lawler like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And Kenny Lawler stacked next to Tim White is one of those packages that was Tiger Cat fans dreaming about in the offseason. Is this time Bo puts it up. Closest receiver would have been Marc-Antoine Dequoy from the Alouettes, but falls incomplete mercifully for the home fans.
Well, and this is exactly what we talked about off the top about Marc-Antoine Dequoy. He is a safety by name only. You're going to see him here up at the line of scrimmage. Drops out in coverage. In territory where Bo doesn't necessarily expect to find him.
Well, Dequoy has so much range. You see Litre going to the flats. He doesn't even respect it. That time is now. Pressure comes right down the chute. And was that Dequoy? It was. Bo Levi Mitchell goes down. Only 2 sacks allowed. Tied for best in the league through the first couple of weeks. And that time, Marc-Antoine Dequoy brings down the Tiger Cats quarterback for his 3rd of the season.
Yeah, again, Dequoy, a guy capable of wreaking havoc anywhere on the field against opposing offenses. We just saw him in coverage. Now you're going to see him coming on that blitz. Unblocked man. Just good awareness not to be drawn off his feet by a bit of a pump fake there, following through on the tackle.
James Fletcher Jr. lets this one drop over his head for the Alouettes, who are 9-0 in June over the past 3 seasons. And speaking of June, scan the QR promo code on screen to get 35% off Crave monthly plans for your first 3 months and stream the biggest blockbuster movies and hit series that you can't stop watching. Crave, proudly Canadian this Canada Day long weekend, as Dwayne has decided to wear a bunch of Western Mustangs purple in the booth here to celebrate his Canadian University football background, and I decided to respond with a little bit of maroon.
I think technically you started the the U Sports fashion battle this week.
Who wore it better? We'll find out coming up at the beginning of the second quarter. McLeod Bethel-Thompson goes back to work from the 40-yard line here with a 1-1 score. Both these teams looking for offensive points. Just a couple of special team singles early on as Macbeth keeps the rock and now decides to jump over the top. Never afraid of an adventure into the air is McLeod Bethel-Thompson using his legs.
Love the play call, love the decision. Here, everybody's going to collapse on the running back, Travis Tice, leaving the outside wide open for McLeod Bethel-Thompson. You expect that to be a Davis Alexander play that maybe isn't on the call sheet with McLeod Bethel-Thompson in. You keep the defense honest by getting that one in early. Great call.
Davis Alexander is everyone at home going, what? 6'4", 230, 36 years old? Is that Michael Jordan or McLeod Bethel-Thompson? This time, Bethel-Thompson to the outside, incomplete. Incomplete, looking for Cole Speaker, who was ISO'd up against this Tiger Cats D.
And we'll take the opportunity to look at this Hamilton Tiger Cat defense. Casey Sales, of course, the veteran leader of this Tiger Cat defensive line. You mentioned Devin Verisuk, the #2 overall pick in this year's draft, makes his first start as Kyle Wilson was released, so he is the middle linebacker. Jonathan Moxey, we saw him with a big play early. Love the moves the Ticats have made through the offseason that allowed Jonathan Moxey to get back to his natural position of corner as he played nickel much of last year.
Blitz coming here from the Tiger Cats. McLeod Bethel-Thompson rips it to the outside. That's complete. Pushed out of bounds. Jonathan Moxey makes sure to spot it for the officials, but Tyler Sneed onto the stat sheet here tonight in week number 4.
Yeah, Tyler Sneed continuing to enjoy a big 2025 season. Last seen jumping up and down, waving for the ball on route to the end zone.
No receiver's ever done that before. Comes shy of the sticks, of course, so now 3rd and 2. And McLeod will go back to the tablet, look things over, and Isaiah Wooden thinking about trying to create another touchdown. The Hamilton Tiger Cats just 3 offensive touchdowns so far on the season, albeit just 2 games played because of the week 3 bye. Wooden, the big kick return, week number 1 against the Calgary Stampeders, who have signed Kyle Wilson, the recently released linebacker that Dwayne spoke of just a minute ago. Played a lot of games for the Tiger Cats as Joseph Zima drops this one down inside the 20-yard line and dove onto. That'll be a no yards penalty as the veteran making the smart play, Brandon Dozier right there. The Hamilton Tiger Cats at Bo Levi Mitchell trying to find a victory here at home. Bo Levi Mitchell still looking for win number 100, an attempt to try and make his way into the history books, the quickest to do it ever. Well, this is win number 1 with more on that one. Here's Claire Hanna.
Well, when Bo Levi Mitchell first broke into the league, he, of course, did it in dramatic fashion. Now, he was with the Stamps, and he came in for an injured Kevin Glenn. At the time, Calgary was down in a game 24 points. Mitchell led them to their biggest comeback victory in Stamps history at the time. And then he said he kind of blacked out. Now, the next week, he was really nervous for his first start against Winnipeg. You know what? He went 29 for 33, 3 touchdown passes, no interceptions. And he said the coolest part of all of this was when he was watching TSN about a week later, and he said, you know what, I saw the list of quarterbacks who had similar starts. Ryan Dinwiddie was on that list. Well, he says if he's the fastest quarterback to get to 100 wins in the CFL, the cool thing will be thinking of the other pivots on that list, what they went through, and it makes Mitchell respect the careers of guys that might not have had the same film on TV who were pioneers of the CFL game.
Yeah, no question. We will, for many years, see Bo listed amongst some of the greats of this league. You know, he also talked about thinking back to how it all began.
Wanted to make the most of his career, and knowing the end is coming near, is over the middle. The big man, Giovanni Robinson, makes the grab as Bo, another completion here, looking for that win number 100, and where he stacks up in the history books, reflecting back, remembering so many great times in Calgary and trying to create more of them here in Hamilton.
It's certainly an impressive list there. One of them in the building tonight, Anthony Calvillo.
It's actually
McManus, of course. Hamilton royalty.
Great when we had our Zooms this week with Bo Levi Mitchell. Anthony showed up early and on time and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, guys." And Bo was just like, "Hey, what's up, AC?
Yeah.
How you doing?" Right? It's like one of those genuine CFL moments of legendary quarterbacks just popping in, going, "Hey, how are you? It's good to see you." And this time a flag comes up, but Bo on point completes this one once again. Out in front of Burns, Tim White starting to cook a little bit here on a Friday night. Is this one coming back?
Offside. Hamilton, number 89. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
So one half of the star receiver duo makes the grab, and the other half was offside, taking it back, Kenny Lawler.
Well, we're so frequently seeing those two team together into the boundary for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Tim White feasting early in the short and intermediate passing game as Kenny Lawler continues to draw some deep coverage.
Montreal tied for the league in the lead with sacks coming in. This time they can't get home to Bo Levi as Tyrese Beverett flies out from his linebacker position and wraps up the newcomer you highlighted coming into this one, doing Trayshawn Ward making his way to the starting lineup with Greg Bell out in his first year from Boston College.
Yeah, Ward, a guy who finished up his college career at Boston College, but as we have seen so often in the transfer portal era.
Wait, guys play more than one school now?
Well-traveled. 3 stops, Florida State, Kansas State, and a final year at Boston College.
Mitchell, 2nd and 12, looks over the top. This one thrown up for grabs. Najee Murray running underneath it. Kenny Lawler, closest receiver, but incomplete. So the connection to Lawler, frustrating early on. You know, they would have circled that matchup early on in the week watching film.
And certainly trying to get a look at that big shot, but well recognized, well covered on the play. Veteran versus veteran as Najee Murray is over there for the Owls.
Alouettes defense first in net defense, allowing just 307 yards so far. Of course, Noel Thorpe, defensive coordinator, a wizard drawing it up. Convoluted scheme that frustrates so many quarterbacks across the Canadian Football League, and Bo Levi Mitchell feeling that right now as we near the end of the first quarter. This kick dribbles out of bounds perfectly. Nick Constantino, a 52-yard punt and plenty of head taps to go around after that one. Spot on.
Yeah, call that a Tie-Cat bounce. Hopping out of bounds at about the, looks like the 1-yard line.
But Constantino, you got to love him taking credit for everything and going, yeah, when I was actually backwards spinning it, it was supposed to hit kick to the right and go directly out of bounds at the half-yard line. Yeah,
I think he'll take it.
That's how I drew it up. McLeod Bethel Thompson with the longest field imaginable. 2:20 remaining in this first quarter. Trying to dance his way around those uprights. The front of the CFL end zone. As Macbeth looks over the top, trying to get a big chunk, immediately rips it, and it is intercepted. Hamilton with great field position after the defense steps up. It's Jamal Peters making the play.
You got to bear in mind, once they get into pass mode here, McLeod Bethel Thompson is working with less than half the field. He's not going to try and throw it through the uprights from where he is, so he's got to go to the boundary side. Watch Julian Hauser getting in his face a little bit. Crushing that pocket. Macbeth knows he's got to put it up, avoid taking that sack, which would be a safety, and Jamal Peters, the veteran corner, 2nd year with the Tie-Cats, former Toronto Argonaut, with a big INT in Alouette territory.
Lose your helmet, gain the football. He'll take that trade every single time. 3rd different defensive coordinator since the start of last year. Different schemes. Jamal told us this week, just trying to get used to it. It's part of the business. Embrace it. Just go make plays. Well, he just did right there. Bo Levi Mitchell once again back to White. Takes one-man miss. And pushed out of bounds as they are going after right now and working over Lorenzo Burns at that boundary corner spot with the conservative stuff. Bo known for going over the top so often.
Yeah, we saw him on the last series sort of take that shot, maybe looking to keep the Alouettes honest as they start to creep up a little bit on Tim White, but so far, the most senior of the Ticats receivers has been a busy man.
Mitchell this time with 4 receivers to begin into the boundary. They'll show run, give run. On first down, nice little pickup that time. The left side of that Tiger Cats offensive line. Bordner, Revenberg, and Woodfancy pushing their way forward with Johnny Augustine toting the rock.
Johnny Augustine, one of many free agent signings, following new general manager Ted Govea over from Winnipeg in the offseason.
Great to see Ted in the building, by the way. Came over and saw us pregame. Fantastic after he was diagnosed earlier on this offseason with cancer. And we said back in week 1, love to see him back in stadium soon. Awesome to see him come up and visit us in the booth before the game here as Bo Levi Mitchell pumps, looks to his left, gets it incomplete. Running down that left side, it is once again the big man, Giovanni Robinson, but it falls out. And was it Jeffrey Canton-Arcou who came up with it? Is it a fumble forced and a fumble recovered for the standout second year from Memphis? It is.
Yeah, Giovanni Robinson was hoping that this one made it to the sidelines before the Alouettes were able to get on it. But it looks like Canton-Arcou is able to fall on this ball before he hits the sideline, before the ball hits the sideline. Well, I'm sure they'll take a look at this, determine is the right elbow out. Is he out of bounds when he recovers this ball?
Canton-Arcou told us this week he was surprised to see how long he had to wait around during the CFL draft. 9th overall selection. As flags come up on the snap deep in their own end. Once again, here are the Alouettes, with just 26 seconds remaining in this first quarter. But that is a man who is going to make a ton of plays regardless of how many opportunities he gets.
Procedure, Montreal number 66. Ball be moved half the distance. Remains first down.
As that one gets away from Giovanni Robinson, we'll take another look. You saw him punching for the football on the tackle, knocks it loose. Gets on top of it just before going out of bounds. Good call by the officials. But yeah, Jeffrey Canton-Arcou on a per snap basis has got to be one of the most productive defenders in the Canadian Football League. This is a guy who plays slightly more than 50% of the defensive snaps for the Alouettes, but in terms of creating turnovers and pressures, he's been unreal.
Tim White hyping up Giovanni Robinson. There is a big-time throw to the outside. Charleston Rambo hauls it in front of Jamal Peters, who just had the interception and is right back on the field after the fumble by Robinson, recovered by Canton-Arcou.
Tiger Cats certainly in a position to try and turn the field here if they can get a win here in short yardage.
Caleb Evans checks into the ball game, short yardage quarterback. Doesn't matter whether Alexander or Bethel Thompson are in the game. This is the man that pushes forward behind that big Alouettes offensive line, and number 5 leans his way across the line. Needed a full yard. Looks like he got it easily. Jamal Gloucester at the bottom of the pile there. Jacob Mason as well, homecoming, former Marauder, picking himself up off the turf, and Evans heads off after a nice push on the right-hand side.
And Caleb Evans has found a nice niche as a backup quarterback, has had success in Montreal when he's had to run the offense, but certainly very consistent in terms of his success rate in short yardage.
Well, Bethel Thompson, what should be the final play of the first quarter. Lines up with Stevie Scott III. Next to him, fakes the run, rips it. Tyler Sneed makes the grab. And it'll be a gain of 7 on first down as the Alouettes trying to maintain their undefeated streak to begin the 2025 CFL season, hoping to move to 4-0 to get things going. As the Hamilton Tiger Cats, well, no wins so far, 0-2. They can only go up from here in week number 4. The numbers after 1 quarter of play here in the Hammer. It is hot, and the offenses are not. They are trying to find their way through this one, but a couple of great defenses getting going. Brett Monson, obviously, on the Hamilton side. We haven't really spoken about him, but early on in this season, when he's done a pretty good job with the Tiger Cats trying to shut teams down. They are 0-2. They got to find some way to score points, though, and against this Montreal defense, it's real tough.
Yeah, never easy against Montreal. Tim White has been productive. That's been, I think, the biggest positive in the early going for Hamilton, that he and Bo Levi Mitchell are on the same page. But yeah, some tough sledding, but credit the defenses for what they have done through the first 15 minutes of this ballgame.
Thoughts on McLeod Bethel Thompson so far? Looks relatively comfortable, certainly, as Caleb Evans opens things up here in the second quarter.
Yeah, short yardage situation, but Bethel Thompson moving around a little bit in the pocket. Certainly with the veteran guy in there, doesn't seem like Jason Moss and Anthony Calvillo have had any consideration of having to abbreviate the playbook.
They reset the game clock here to kick things off in the second quarter. I love the McLeod Bethel Thompson quote on Davis Alexander's injury at the start of the week. And he said, "I prepare like I'm starting every week. Davis is young and spry, so I'm assuming he'll bounce back quickly." Young people tend to do that. They're like superheroes. It's a very, very McLeod Bethel Thompson quote. He said, "But I'm ready to start. I know I'm the backup, but I get my reps in, and away we go." As flags come up on the snap. That was the Tiger Cats defensive line. Offside is Jason Moss. Watches on. Digs back into the play sheet here, making sure it is
offside.
First.
Hamilton defensive line. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It's a big start for the Montreal Alouettes here in 2025 in a variety of different ways. Both sides of the football, as you would expect under Jason Moss and this team. They have never really gotten off to a slow start because he coaches this team hard coming out of training camps.
Yeah, he certainly does. Team building big to Jason Moss, and continuity has been a factor in Montreal's success in the early going as well.
Eddie Machocha maintaining that core as the general manager. An inside run this time going nowhere for Stevie Scott III. And so Montreal will have second and long coming up.
Stevie Scott. We see Travis Tice and Sean Thomas Erlington all in the lineup in that Montreal backfield. First time this season we've seen all 3 of those guys dressed. Then collectively taking over for Walter Fletcher, who was released at the end of training camp.
Scott listed at 6'1", 218 in his second year out of Indiana. As Bethel Thompson rolls away from pressure, looks for Scott and bounces off his back end. It's incomplete. Devin Verzuk right there on coverage in the flats, and Montreal will have to send it away.
You're going to get some pressure from, no surprise, Casey Sales. The constant little push-pull move. There to find his way into the backfield. Taking the offensive line off balance. Start with that bull rush, get him to anchor in, and then yank him forward.
Zima stands back, ready to kick this one away. High spiraling boot, drops into the boundary and out of bounds. Before it bounced inbounds.
Power, precision, performance. The Lincoln Navigator Cup. Who will have their mic drop moment? July 1st, only on TSN.
Levi Mitchell ranking 3rd all-time quarterback win percentage at .704, behind only Doug Flutie and Dave Dickinson, ahead of Warren Moon as well. And looking to improve that here tonight at home as Tiger Cats begin their summer schedule with kids out of school.
Illegal kick out of bounds, 10-yard penalty, first down.
And get a little bit of extra field position here as well to help.
Well documented that Bo Levi Mitchell loves the deep shots. We've really only seen him attempt a couple in this ball game. Look for Keandre Smith down the pipe early on. Kenny Lawler a little bit later to the corner. Both teams, much of their success, limited success in the passing game, again, has been in the short game.
It's funny, we think about Bo not taking as many shots as he usually does. He's still got 14 attempts of 20 yards or more in the air. 7 per game's pretty good, and he's 6 of 14, which means he's completing 42% of them, which is above the league average. Like, he's still throwing it deep, he's still completing it deep. It's just the rest of the throws where he's been smart and conservative. This time he does rip it over the top, and it's up for Kenny Lawler, incomplete. Bounced off his hands as they went for Burns. Lawler frustrated with himself, not being able to haul that one in.
And you had a pretty good sense just by formation where this ball was going. Kenny Lawler by himself, but with a tighter split to that short side of the field, giving himself a little bit of room to work. As you see him fade a little bit towards the sideline. Bolt Levi Mitchell just immediately pulls out from under center, puts it up to let his big deep threat go get it.
By the way, what was that? Under center 3-step drop and throw a fade? Is this the 90s? What's happening out there, Dwayne? Is this one to the outside? Completed. Johnny Augustine dives for the first down marker. Nice effort on 2nd and long as the running back goes and gets it.
Johnny Augustine. This is exactly why they brought this guy over. Reliable veteran out of the University of Guelph from nearby Niagara Falls. Had spent his career prior to this season with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Again, comes over in free agency. Some interesting Canadian running back happenings in the early portion of this season.
No doubt. Inside handoff, trying to cut it back. Oh, nice play that time. Digging it out from in behind. There's Taiwan Mullen.
Oh, we see Johnny Augustine getting his touches here early on. As we mentioned, when he comes from Winnipeg, Winnipeg's looking for a Canadian backup to Brady Oliveira. Matthew Peterson, who had been a Ticats draft pick a year ago, becomes expendable in Hamilton with Augustine's arrival. So he gets traded to Winnipeg, where he's getting touches. We've got Sean Thomas Erlington in this one. Big game for Daniel Adebaboye last week for Ottawa.
Lots of love for the backs. Is now up high, incomplete. Bo little off the mark on that one, trying to fit it into a tight window. And the Tiger Cats special teams unit will come out, but Burns has certainly been busy here this evening, whether it be man or zone.
And you wonder a little bit here in the second quarter, as you see the Ticats trying to get the ball to Kenny Lawler. And you have faith in Lawler, one of the top guys in the league in terms of contested catches. But is this a sign of impatience for Bo Levi Mitchell, or is this just a desire to get Kenny Lawler involved before too much time goes by in this ballgame?
Punt is away. Out of bounds, and Lawler came in with 23 targets for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, leading the team. He's got 3 targets in this one, no catches so far as they try to get him on the same page with Bo. Don't miss Free Agent Frenzy, presented by Harvey's, as TSN experts and insiders break all the NHL news, rumors, and player signings live as it happens on Canada Day. Coverage begins 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on TSN. Also get the latest updates, analysis, and stories at tsn.ca and on the TSN app. You just know there's some sickos, Canucks fans out there on the West Coast who are waking up 7 a.m., making their black coffee and getting ready for the Free Agent Frenzy.
Let the games begin.
Heard there's a big name potentially available. 1 or 2. To the outside, McLeod Bethel Thompson. Full speaker again, getting some extra attention here with Austin Mack into the lineup tonight. Jamal Peters right there, alongside Ray Wilborn in at weak side linebacker this evening.
Yeah, Ticats linebacking core. We mentioned the release of Kyle Wilson with Devin Veresuk taking over in the middle. First-year man at Mac, Ray Wilborn, second-year guy. Played a lot of last season as a middle linebacker, but second-year man there. So relying on the experience of the nickel, Brandon Dozier, a lot here.
And the secondary as well as it checked down over the middle. Charleston Rambo finds himself in the middle of the traffic. Pushes his way towards the 55, and they'll give him the first down. So Montreal's offense gets a fresh opportunity here with 10 minutes remaining in this first half, tied up at 1.
Trading places over the offseason. Veteran quarterbacks, McLeod Bethel Thompson and Cody Fajardo.
Switching colors and in the same role, but McLeod gets his opportunity first as Rambo, second year at the University of Miami, gets another grab here. It'll go for a gain of 6, second down and 4.
And certainly an interesting swap, interesting situation as they really found themselves both in the same sort of predicament. Bethel Thompson in Edmonton. Trey Ford was a free agent. Edmonton re-signs Ford with the plan for him to become the starter. Same thing happens in Montreal with Davis Alexander, who had previously been behind Cody Fajardo.
Thompson looks to his right, comes back to the left, now goes for a run and leans his way forward, takes a pop that time from Veresuk. Right in the middle of those hashes is McLeod trying to grind his way forward on 2nd and 4 for the first down. And is he half a yard shy? They'll take a look at it with referee Richie Miller.
And this is good awareness of the situation down and distance. Obviously, you expect that from a veteran quarterback as Bethel Thompson sees to sort of abort his reads and tuck and run early, knowing he doesn't need a lot, and there's a little bit of a gap there for him to go get it.
Does come up half a yard shy. From MBT to the sideline, Caleb Evans is in. And the Tiger Cats defense, Hauser, Fox, Hendricks trying to dig their way in. Can't get a stop on this one, giving up a 1-yard buffer zone here in the Canadian Football League. So McLeod Bethel Thompson, after a 1-snap break, goes back to work.
Well, Bethel Thompson, best known for his time with the Toronto Argonauts. Left there as a Grey Cup champion. A year away from the Canadian Football League before returning last year with Edmonton. Similar story to Bo Levi Mitchell. Put up great numbers, just didn't win as many games as he would have liked.
MBT slides away this time, gets it to David Dallaire. As Dallaire down at the 40-yard line. You think McLeod gets any Labor Day flashbacks being back in the building here, regardless of what color uniform he's in? I mean, that 2022 with Toronto, ton of yards, obviously exited the Grey Cup in Saskatchewan with an injury. Chad Kelly came in and finished it off, but what a year.
Yeah, some ups and downs for him through the course of the season, but really seemed to find his stride down the stretch, culminating with that Grey Cup victory. A little support from Chad Kelly in that win.
Goes to Edmonton, now comes over here to Montreal and completes this one to Charleston Rambo. Big collision as Stavros Katsantonis came out from his free safety spot, got right into the chest of Charleston Rambo. He's starting to stack up the catches here in the second quarter.
Yeah, we talked in the early part of this season about sort of the historical depth in the Montreal receiving corps. We look back over the years, just seems like every time someone goes down, there's, whether it's someone else established coming back from injury or someone new coming into the lineup who's ready to go.
McLeod pumps to his right, looks to run, pressure's on. Hamilton's pass rush trying to stop this drive short. Julian Hauser coming back to Hamilton after leaving in free agency for Calgary a couple of years ago. looked fantastic in their preseason home game here. Been a little bit quiet to start the season, but a big play this time.
Hauser off the right side of your screen. Just redirects, retraces his steps as Bethel Thompson tries to step up in the pocket.
95. It's 100 career games in the Canadian Football League. And brings down McLeod Bethel Thompson, forcing 2nd and 11. Underneath, incomplete. Rolling on the turf. Cole Speaker unable to haul it in.
And you see a little look of frustration there from both Speaker and Bethel Thompson.
I think Alouettes fans watching this, and even Tiger Cats fans, anybody who's a fan of the CFL going, where's Tyson Philpott early on in this one? I mean, we got 5 minutes left in the first half and no signs of number 6 so far. As Jose Maltos comes in, 9 for 9 so far on field goal attempts. Last 2 games, made 11 in a row since missing his first attempt of the season. And he's up around 90% for his career now as Maltos adds another one on and gives Montreal the lead. 4-1, they lead over the Tiger Cats here on Friday Night Football. Kenny Lawler, fantastic start to this season. He loves being a Tiger Cat, but not loving life tonight against this Alouettes defense. Luke Wilson has more.
Yeah, Marshall, you know, it's not been the most electric game thus far, obviously, but there is a very cool game of cat and mouse going on right now between the Alouettes defense and Kenny Lawler. And you look at this, they're basically daring Bo Levi to try and throw it there, and it's leaving Tim White underneath. And Tim White's obviously the leading receiver right now, and he's had a very, very nice half, and you keep seeing what's happening. It's a soft zone. It's not double coverage, but they're just saying, do not throw to Kenny D. And they're taking what you're giving them, and I like that. But where you got to stop making mistakes is right here, the patience. If you look right here to the very right of your screen, that's right at the 6 for a first down. But because we have a guy like Kenny Lawler, we still want to push it down there. Again, right now, I think if I'm the Ticats, continue to take what the defense gives you, or just throw running back wheels and get up like that, you know?
Little swing screen, Lou.
Yes.
You would have loved a swing screen. Get out in front, make a play.
No question. Again, I think it goes to show here right now, Bo Levi Mitchell, the offensive coordinator and head coach Milanovic, they just got to take what Montreal is giving them. Don't force the ball down the field.
Absolutely. Good stuff from the Hamilton Tiger Cats and Luke Wilson as Johnny Augustine turns on the Jets. And to his point as well about Kenny Lawler and, you know, forcing it in. The rest, up until that play, Tim White had more catches than the rest of the Tiger Cats running backs and receivers combined in this one, as we have just a few minutes remaining in this first half. And all of a sudden, Hamilton's offense turning it up a little bit, and back-to-back plays for Johnny Augustine.
Yeah, terrific, underrated player is Johnny Augustine, but getting his opportunity tonight, making the most of it. Great job after the catch on the previous play, right here, picking his way through the blocks.
And once you get
into second level.
Kenny Lawler caving down the Alouettes defense that time as well, making his impact felt in ways that won't show up on the stat sheet here tonight. 1st and 10 from the 14. Bo hands it off, and just stumbling his way through the defense is Augustine, or 27 might have seen 7.
May have just clipped the leg of one of his own linemen trying to find his way through the hole here. Looked like Johnny Augustine was off to play dirt, paint dirt. Yeah, just catching the heel there of the big guard Liam Dobson.
Thorpe trying to dial it up. Last seconds here before the 3-minute warning from the Montreal 9. Hamilton can still get a first down. 2nd and 5, they go to the flats. Actually diving towards the first down marker. And it looks like Ward will have enough. The Tiger Cats only 7 score zone plays inside the 20-yard line in their first 2 games against Calgary and Saskatchewan. And starting to rack them up right now, chipping away, getting closer and closer as this game does not have any majors as of yet.
Well, it's that idea that Luke talked about, taking what's being given to them. The big play isn't there, but underneath stuff, and now making some plays in the run game as well. I mean, this has been very much a running back-centric drive with that last pass in a free release to the flat to Trayshawn Ward.
We've hit the 3-minute warning here in the Hammer. Low scoring, but entertaining back and forth, and Hamilton threatening with a major before the half.
Can I have anything to myself?
We don't look cool with it? But we look cool.
Good. You look good. You look good. It looks good on there. We can keep it. You can keep it. I like it. It's okay with me.
I'm significantly less impressed by them adding the toothpick than I am by Winton adding the suit. That thing is fresh. Who styled that man?
Good to have Mr. McManus join the crew tonight.
Short yardage in here for the Tiger Cats on 3rd and inches. They didn't get it before we went to the 3-minute warning. Flags come up as Litre plunges his way forward. You see Milanovic, bo. Yeah, I would send him in too.
Offside. Montreal number 53. The gain is greater. That penalty is declined.
Corey Robinson Jr. with a finger in the wrong place. Regardless, Litre obviously got it. Of course, Canton Arcou's right there. He's always there, just like Bev Red on the top of things in short yardage.
Roberson, newcomer to this Alouette defense, getting a shot in the lineup tonight with Dylan Wynn on the injured list.
Bo Levi Mitchell. 2 touchdowns on the season. They'll hand it off right into a brick wall. My name is Najee Murray. Of all the tacklers that you expect to blow ball carriers backwards, it's not usually 12 coming up.
Yeah, tremendous collision here. Looked like Johnny Augustine was on his way. Murray tracking the play across the formation. Steps up. Wes Sutton with some contact there as well. But you know, Murray doing that while taking on a block as well. Noel Thorpe loves what he sees.
Short yardage in. Litre under center. 2nd and goal. Plunges to the left-hand side. Fights. Can't get there. 3rd and goal.
Well, the Alouettes already with 1 turnover on downs on a 3rd down gamble. Opening series of the ball game. Going to put their faith in this short yardage defense again.
Sean Oakman. And who's at the bottom? Najee Murray again. Tom Milanovic watches on. Loa Uguak digging in once again. There's the big man, Oakman. Watches on, and Bo Levi Mitchell. Looks like Hamilton will play a little bit more conventional here. Plenty of motion. Litre in the backfield. Bo looks to throw to the outside. Plenty of traffic. Running through it is Kenny Lawler into the end zone. Touchdown, Tiger Cats. Lawler's 2nd major in black and gold, and the 1st for either team in this ball game with 1:26 remaining in the half.
Going to work across the formation out into the flat. Free release primary receiver. You see him coming left to right across the formation here. You get exactly what you want. So we'll take another look, but Wes Sutton's trying to follow him across the formation. He has to bubble to avoid his own teammates. Can't just take a straight line to get there. That's enough to create all the separation Kenny Lawler and Bo Levi Mitchell need.
8 plays and 70 yards in a little over 3.5 minutes. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats tag on the extra point and doubling up the Owls as they look for a home victory. Oh, snakes and ladders here trying to weave his way through the traffic. Kenny Lawler into the end zone, making the home fans happy on Friday Night Football.
Man of the moment, Kenny Lawler. Ticats had to get a little creative in terms of how they were going to get the ball to their leading receiver. They haven't been able to connect vertically, so they go horizontally.
DeAndre Smith wobbled him.
He's excited about that touchdown.
Went to go high point the rock up there with Kenny Lawler, but Lawler making the big jump in free agency. Big splash for Tagovailoa and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Making the big play here at the end of the first half. 8-4 as Montreal gets possession. Fletcher Jr. crosses the 30 to the 40. And finally brought down. Battle on special teams continues. And now they made Wesley Sutton go for the long trip all the way around on the Lawler touchdown, Dwayne.
Yeah, and this is exactly the way you're using the width of the field. Kenny Lawler is going to start off here. Wesley Sutton, of course, the defender trying to track him as he goes in motion. But watch the path. Circuitous route that Sutton has to take. He can't just take a straight line to get there and meet him in the flat. He's got to avoid all his teammates on his way around. That creates separation, allows Lawler to get that space to be wide open.
Montreal begins this possession with 1:16 left in this first half. Tyson Philpott makes the grab. That'll be his first of the ball game, first target as well. And it goes for a gain of 6.
Yeah, Philpott, of course, one of the most dynamic receivers in the Canadian Football League. East Division Rookie of the Year back in 2022.
Bethel Thompson looks to his left. Tyler Sneed open on the out route. What a great route by the ECU alum that time. Pushed vertical, snapped it off, and was wide open for MBT.
Yeah, Tyler Sneed working out of the slot here. Had a great conversation with him this week. He talked a little bit about some of his receiving influences growing up. Guys like Wes Welker, Julian Edelman, Danny Amendola, smaller receivers, but kind of patterned a lot of his game after those guys in terms of just understanding how to get open, find space.
As the ECU coaches getting their hands on some Patriots film, totally changed his life as Tyson Philpott, incomplete, in between coverage, trying to squeeze it in to 6 that time, but plenty of Tiger Cats defenders right there on the spot, including Stavros Katsantonis.
Canada West battle there. Stavros Katsantonis out of the University of British Columbia. Tyson Philpott, former University of Calgary Dino. A little bit of overlap. Start of Philpott's career, end of Katsantonis's.
Bethel Thompson, his first 61st start, will get wrapped up and thrown down. In the Alouettes backfield, it's Mario Kendricks.
Well, Kendricks came into this game leading the Ticats with 2 sacks through the first couple weeks of the season, or first couple games. Right here collects number 3. Nice spin to the inside, working against Donnie Ventrelli. Perhaps the makings of dynamic duo on the inside. Kendricks paired with Casey Sales in the interior of that Cats D-line.
They're rolling through with Miles Fox as well. They've suddenly got a strength at defensive tackle paired alongside Sales, who felt like he was a bit of a one-man army at times last year for the Tiger Cats. So Joseph Zima will be called upon to send this low driving boot with a 2-man return back for the Tiger Cats. And caught on the run, Tim White looking for somewhere to escape. And a flag comes down late at the end of the play from the backside. With 16 seconds remaining on a steamy night here in Hamilton. Forecast said there was a major threat of thunderstorms. I'm not gonna jinx it, Dwayne. It looks beautiful right now. That's all. That's all I'm gonna say. It's a gorgeous.
Hamilton number 47. Restricted penalty, first down.
Back up the Tiger Cats on the return as they were trying to make something out of nothing. Tim White stays on the field right there with Keandre Smith, Antti Litre, Kenny Lawler, Giovanni Robinson in as well, and Johnny Augustine. As these Tiger Cats fans looking for more excitement potentially before the half. With school out for the summer. Yeah, we'll put you on TV. Why not? You bring a sign, you get on TV.
Is that the rule?
Yep. As Hamilton content to carry an 8-4 lead in the half here. It's their first game against the East Division after taking on Calgary and Saskatchewan weeks 1 and 2, buy-in week number 3. So despite being winless and it being early in the season, still plenty of ground to gain, especially against their own division, which, as we know, is all important in the Canadian Football League.
Sir, a 4-point game is a 4-point game. We actually have a 4-point game.
There's Kenny Lawler in his second game at home since coming over in free agency. A little coverage over the top, trying to fit it into the windows. A little hand battle there with Burns. Was frustrated with himself on that one. And not an easy start, but makes the major. And hopefully sets the tone for the second half here in Hamilton as we send it down to Claire Hanna, who's with Kenny.
Kenny, we saw some frustrations on offense earlier in the half. What were the Alouettes defense doing to make life difficult?
They wasn't really doing much. I just wasn't executing on the plays that Bo was targeting me. You know, their front, they got a little tricky front. So at the end of the day, like I said, we always got to execute.
Well, you found the end zone. How did you get creative on that play?
On that play, you know, that's all coach. That's all him. But yeah, no, that's really Johnny touch. That's really Johnny touchdown. I should really be talking to Johnny because yeah, he got us down there.
Okay, thank you, Kenny.
Thank you.
All right, Kate, back to you guys.
Claire, you got to respect that. He says he needs to be better, and he gave credit to Johnny Augustine. And Johnny Augustine was really the only story in the first half, back alongside Enoch Mwamba, Wynton McManus, and Dave Naylor. As we break down that first half of football, you know what? We're just not going to sugarcoat this one. Until that touchdown, Dave, we were kind of shaking our heads up here, and that was difficult to watch at the best of times. Oh, Wynton, that might go viral right there, and I like it. I like it. I like it.
I think the bad omen was when the game began with the turnover on downs.
Agreed.
And from there, these are the first 11 possessions. Ready? Turnover on downs, punt, 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 interception, fumble, punt, punt. And then we got a field goal and a touchdown. And look, neither of these teams were in rhythm at all. And receivers weren't getting separation. There's pressure. And neither of them were able to run the ball, which is the kind of thing you should be able to do to try to break that log jam. And finally, we see on that drive that Hamilton scored the touchdown. They get a little bit of going with some yards after catch from Johnny Augustine, breaking one along the sidelines. And then they feed him the rock a couple times, and you get a little momentum, a little bit of some rhythm on offense until they get down to the goal line and they get a little creative, find Kenny Lawler on this route where he comes behind the line of scrimmage, and that was Kenny Lawler's first catch. Here's the most amazing stat from the first half. Until that catch, the combined total of catches for Kenny Lawler, Shamar Bridges, and Tyson Philpott, 0.
Man.
My goodness.
Oh, goodness.
Now, here's the good news, too. I'm expecting a dynamite second half. I mean, it can't be worse than that, to be quite honest. Let's talk about another positive, though, Wynton, and that has to be the Montreal defense. And look, you heard Kenny say, like, that front is a little bit tricky. Well, their DBs can be tricky. Their linebackers can be tricky. And Marc-Antoine Ducroix, and we haven't said his name that much this season, but he had a couple really nice plays in that first half.
Yeah, he does a really good job of making his presence felt anytime he's on the field and making sure the quarterback has to find where he is and where he's going to end up. You see him here on some of these plays here, like looked like he's going to the flat, and then he decides to turn back in, and he could feel that coming and feel that happening behind him. And he's just so instinctive. He's so in tune with what's going to happen. You see him here, he's blitzing. His blitz timing is good, so the O-line can't change. They can't get the pressure to go towards him, and, you know, he just does a really good job at that. And if he continues that, like I said earlier, Hamilton can't trade shots with Montreal's defense. So, you know, they got to find a way to do it.
if the Hamilton Tiger Cats want to have a chance, they have to fight fire with fire. They have to. Tonight, really, they've been giving the Hamilton Tiger Cats, the Montreal Alouettes, a dose of their own medicine. They're bringing a lot of pressure, and for whatever reason, Montreal is trying to get prepared for a lot of pressure. You see here, max protection here, only 3 guys in running routes, and you get the interception by Jamal Peters. But the key play here is Hauser right here. One-on-one, because there's no extra protection, he gets right to McLeod Bethel Thompson. He gets folded like a lawn chair. Then you see him over here again. He gets right through there. He's just getting right to the quarterback every single time, and he's making it hard for McLeod Bethel Thompson tonight. And now he's off balance, and you don't know what's happening. So tonight we've seen a few plays that were bright. Hauser has been a bright spot for sure for the Hamilton Tiger Cats tonight. Kendricks had a sack as well, and Jamal Peters with an interception. So if they want to have a chance tonight against the Montreal Alouettes, they have to keep going in this direction, and they have to really turn it up.
I got to ask, too, like, when it comes to MBT, and we saw some of those plays, too, the hurdle, I mean, that was something that was absolutely great in the first half, too. Do you have any concern, though, with the way MBT is playing? Like, I get you get Caleb Evans behind you, but you're the backup quarterback. I mean, you need to be in right now. As a team, are you, like, maybe not that aggressive?
I mean, when you're a starting quarterback, there's decisions you got to kind of hold back on, and you got to make business decisions. But, hey, he's a backup quarterback right now, and he understands his role, and that's why he's giving it his all.
Anything to get a spark. Anything to get a spark. Anything to get some excitement going. So if that's what gets his team going to go out and score some points, that'll be it.
I didn't know he has a hop like that.
Are you talking for us or for the team? Like, something, give us something.
Give us something, but, man, do it again.
Some time to throw in some separation from some receivers.
Exactly.
That's what they want.
Air McLeod.
The air.
CFL Fantasy is back, and this season, it's bigger than ever. More highlights, more heroes, more fantasy firepower. Challenge your friends in weekly head-to-head matchups or chase season-long bragging rights. Whether you're riding with the stars or digging up clutch sleepers, the road to glory starts with your picks. Play every week for a shot at the grand prize, a VIP trip to the 112th Grey Cup. CFL Fantasy, your team, your league, your win. Join now at gamezone.cfl.ca.
Canada Day weekend continues in the CFL. On Saturday night, the BC Lions in Regina to take on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. You can see at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And then it all wraps up with the Canada Day game in Ottawa. The Toronto Argonauts in town to face the Red Blacks. We're coming off their first win of the season. You can see that as well. 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific pregame going at 6:30 Eastern. How convenient that we have a Toronto Argonaut right here with us right now. And look, when we got the Ottawa Red Blacks coming off that win in Calgary, I don't know how you can judge that victory, though, with all the weather that was happening. Your Argonauts, obviously a very tough start to the season, a lot of injuries. What are you looking for in this game particularly?
For us, honestly, I'm looking for us to come out with a lot of energy, come out and try to attack each day, each play like we would, like it's our last. And, last week we had some setbacks. We did some things that were kind of not like us. And, this week we've had a good week of practice and everybody's ready to go. I think we focus in on the details. We met more and, people are getting together and being more vocal about just what it is that we need. And coming into this week, man, I think we're prepared.
I'm so sorry that we showed that Mario Alford highlight twice. They just kept running it and running it and running it. But when it comes to this team, too, look, I mean, the injuries have just been humongous, starting with yourself, of course, Chad Kelly as well. I mean, for yourself personally, and you've been speaking about this on set, this is so hard for you just to watch right now, is it not?
Yeah, it's difficult. Anytime I'm not out there, I'm a vocal guy, I'm a high-energy guy, and, I kind of feel weird doing all that and not actually being on the field to go out and perform and make some of those things happen. But, I got to try to maintain that. Got to try to be a leader and be the same person every day. But, if y'all have a football in here, somebody's getting tackled.
Okay, one thing before we go to break. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. You ready? To the camera? And that's how we're hoping for the second half of football. 8-4 for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Back to the Hamilton after this.
Hamilton Tiger Cats fans hoping they see plenty more of Kenny Lawler into the end zone, as we saw at the end of this first half. But the offense is struggling here early on. You know who doesn't mind that? One of the best free safeties in the Canadian Football League, Marc-Antoine Dequoise with Claire Hannum.
Marc-Antoine, we saw you get your 3rd sack of the season in that first half. How have you guys been frustrating the Ticats offense?
Oh, it's no frustration. We just got to play football. I mean, they're a good football team. It's not easy to win a football game in this league. So still 30-minute football. You know, anything can happen. And I've been in the league for so long. So just got to grind and finish the game.
And it is just a 4-point game. What was the message at half?
I mean, just keep playing football. It's a 4-point game. Nothing to be down about, nothing to be sad about. That's how it goes. You never know how a football game is going to turn out. So still got a lot of time and got to play to a level.
Merci.
Merci beaucoup.
Marc-Antoine Dequoise, 5th year in the Canadian Football League. Feels like he's been in the league for 20. The way he's talking there, he's like, oh, it's an old savvy vet, 5 years in. But Montreal down by 4 as we begin this second half. They will receive after Hamilton won the coin toss and took the football to begin. And James Letcher Jr. burst down the sideline and has his leg chopped out. Otherwise, he was headed towards a major for the Alouettes.
Yeah, terrific start on special teams here for the Montreal Alouettes. And it's the kicker, Mark Leggio, with perhaps a touchdown-saving tackle, just clipping the heels of the Alouette returner.
Didn't even chop out the legs, just grazed the heel. A tackle's a tackle. 38-yard return for James Letcher Jr. Great starting field position here for Montreal. Play action, flip it to the outside. Tyler Snead trying to stay on his feet, but Ray Wilborn right there. McLeod Bethel Thompson in that first half. Extremely similar to Bo Levi Mitchell. Both been using their legs a little bit, flipping the hips and trying to find receivers in space.
Yeah, just some tough slugging trying to get the ball down the field. But Bethel Thompson spreading the ball around. Ultimately getting all his receivers involved. We see them move the pocket a little bit. Nice acrobatic run there early on, demonstrating that he doesn't mind taking off with the rock.
36-year-old Bethel Thompson to the outside here. Tyler Snead gets another gain, makes him in, miss. Gaston-Tonis left in the dust that time by the quick feet of Snead, and it's good for an Alouettes first down.
Yeah, it's just so great to see Tyler Snead back doing his thing this year after battling a foot injury that kept him out much of last season. Nice escape move here, working back to the football. Misdirecting on the defender. Brandon Dozier.
Snead said he doesn't think about the foot that he broke in multiple places when he's playing football. It's when he's walking on a hardwood floor at home. That's when he remembers exactly what happened to him as Charleston Rambo on 1st and 10 will get a gain of 13 yards and move the chains once again for the Owls.
And those yards after the catch, serving the Alouettes well here to start this 3rd quarter. Snead then Rambo, watch 14 coming out of the backfield. 2 receivers work from weak to strong in that formation. Snead stays in to protect. Rambo picking up the screen, couple blocks there from his fellow receivers, allow him to move the sticks.
All of a sudden, McLeod Bethel Thompson crosses 100 yards up to 115 on this drive as he looks to the outside. Cole Speaker, this one hangs up, and Cole just couldn't find it. One-on-one coverage supplied by Jonathan Moxey.
Cole Speaker, Montreal's leading receiver. Last year, as various players were in and out of the lineup. Tyson Philpott, of course, missing half the season a year ago.
Big play for the Alouettes offense here. Dwayne haven't been able to score a touchdown so far in the ball game with 2nd and 10 from the Hamilton 17-yard line. Bethel Thompson looking left all the way, rips it complete. Speaker has got to work for it, puts his head down, tries to get to the 7-yard line. We'll see where they spot him.
Another good hard run after the catch. Cole Speaker determined to get to that first down marker. Just lowers the shoulders, going into contact there. Jamal Peters and Ray Wilborn.
linebacker and a massive defensive back. He had to try and fight his way through. As Peters worse for wear, trying to step up on that one.
It looked like he was favoring that left arm a little bit, that maybe got caught awkwardly underneath him. Watch the left arm at the bottom here. I wonder if he might have jarred that shoulder, right shoulder, the way he landed.
Yeah, Jamal Peters told us this week what he was so impressed about with this Montreal offense is they play as one. So you can't really lean on a singular star, one style of play, a ton of tendencies. So well-rounded. They certainly need Peters in the lineup to try and shut down the second half push that's inevitably coming here from Montreal, but that right arm dangling pretty good right now.
Again, Peters, one of the leaders back there. Big signing last season as they look to secure that boundary corner. Already with an interception in this one. The rookie, Mac Bannatyne, out of the University of Alberta, into the lineup.
So they shuffle the deck on the back end here. Bannatyne goes to the field corner. McLeod Thompson rolls that direction. Will challenge him right away. Throw it underneath. Big hit. Flying up to help Deshaun Amos, the former Toronto Argonaut. Has to ask for his mouth guard back.
There's Deshaun Amos. He's playing the field halfback spot. Big year for him with the Argos last season. You see him playing at depth and coming up with full intentions.
Michael Thompson on second and goal, looks to his right, throws it low and away, incomplete. Charleston Rambo, the intended receiver. And Destin Talbot, they're in coverage to knock it away. So the Hamilton Tiger Cats defense holds despite losing Jamal Peters on that drive after a really promising drive from the Alouettes.
Yeah, back-to-back plays from the Ticat halfbacks. Talbot moved from nickel linebacker spot to the boundary half partway through last season. Gets a hand in there to separate Charleston Rambo from the football.
Jose Malto steps up, trying to close the gap. Joseph Zima is his holder and hammers that one through as you would expect. We have a one-point football game once again. Hamilton and Montreal. Bo Levi Mitchell in possession of the rock when we return to Hamilton. Bo Levi Mitchell in the first half, 12 of 17, 132 yards. That one touchdown to Kenny Lawler. No interceptions, which is something that Scott Milanovich has certainly been emphasizing with his veteran quarterback.
That first half with a little bit of momentum. Looking to grow from there as you see Bo's numbers, 12 of 17.
Bo up there in the top 3 of all-time winning quarterback percentages. Begins his second half in front of Shamar Bridges. We asked where he was a little bit earlier on. And a nice quick screen here. I certainly would love to see some of the iconic success from his Calgary time lead over here and also hit the triple digits right there. Far left number in his win tally, looking for that win number 100. Elusive early on in the season, but week after week, he admitted it is a little bit on his mind because he does appreciate all of the history of the people that have come before him in the Canadian Football League. He'll look to throw on 2nd and 4. Over the top, it is Kenny Lawler. Almost grabbed it.
Did he? He says yes.
Noel Thorpe on the spot. Thought it hit the turf from here. I thought he caught it originally. originally, and then it dropped down and smashed the turf. But Bo wants to go quick before they can get a look at it because they have called it a catch.
There goes horizontal.
Wow.
You know, I don't like that angle because it kind of ruined the moment for me. But you can see clearly there an incomplete pass. Outstanding effort from Kenny Lawler.
It'll be third down.
He almost caught the end of the football and found a way to get his hands underneath it. He caught the back end of the football, which is the most awkward way to try and grab that thing.
Yeah, almost looked at full speed as if he
please reset
knew he didn't have a great grip on it, kind of tried to reset his hands and get underneath it. But didn't have enough time to do so before hitting the ground.
Substitutions here late for the Hamilton Tiger Cats punting unit that has to come out after the incompletion, now officially ruled on 2nd down and 4. As Constantino gets set to send this one away.
Well, James Letcher Jr. already with an electric kickoff return to open this second half.
See if he can create some Montreal magic. Instead, it's going to be Hamilton with a little bit of trickery, extending the drive. Who knew Constantino had a little arm on him? Tyler Turnowski, the Hamiltonian, on the receiving end.
Well-timed call fake here. Special teams coordinator Dennis McKnight.
And with a flag down, you just wonder whether or not they lined up properly on the fake as well.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Misconduct. 15-yard penalty, Hamilton, number 42. There's also an objectionable conduct on Montreal. 10-yard penalty.
So offsetting, but no worse for wear, is Hamilton as their special teams unit finds a way to extend the drive.
Yeah, great execution there. Always got to have someone forcing the kick on that punt return team. Guys who are going to see the punter punt the football. Nobody makes sure of that. Nick Constantino makes them pay. Well, they don't throw overhand in Aussie rules.
Knew we were going there at some point, but it's a pretty good rip by the punter.
Yes, sir.
I respect it. Bo Levi Mitchell back to work at the line of scrimmage as Jacob Mason gets flagged for misconduct on Montreal's side there. And his return to Hamilton. And flags come up here on 1st and 10.
Procedure, Hamilton number 61. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Dumoulin Duguay listed as the backup center here, 6th offensive lineman. Makes his way back to the sidelines after costing the team a handful of yards.
Yeah, you hate to see that when you're Scott Milanovic. You've got the momentum after the successful special teams fake. Go from 1st and 10 to 1st and 15. Chasing the sticks a little bit.
4-man rush from Montreal. Open once again is Tim White as he gets sandwiched. Darnell Sankey running all the way to the sideline. Tyrell Richards, former 1st overall pick as well, in on the play, but White adds to his tally on the evening, and Bo with an easy completion.
Yeah, same thing. Tim White been working those flats and quick outs all evening.
And I wonder if the Alouettes practice ripping the football out. Sutton ripped at it, Sankey ripped at it, Burns ripped at it. I don't know how White held on to that thing, but
they are all about trying to create those turnovers. They talk openly as a defense about wanting to get the ball and score themselves.
Second and 3, pressure on. Lawler makes the grab, moves the chains, looking for more, gets wrapped up along that sideline. Wesley Sutton in his 5th year to Northern Arizona makes the play, but Lawler gives the Tiger Cats another first down.
Now Lawler out wide to the left. Sutton playing inside leverage as Lawler runs the quick out. Making for an easy completion from Bo Levi Mitchell.
Hamilton Tiger Cats offense in a rhythm right now. As we reach the midway point of this 3rd quarter in week number 4, Canada Day weekend. Mitchell hands it off, cutting back against the grain right into the heart of that Montreal defense. Marc-Antoine Dequoy downhill to help finish that one off alongside Corey Robertson Jr. It's a gain of 3 yards on the play. 2nd and 7 left here for Mitchell. This was the down and distance that Scott Milanovich said he wanted to see Bo Levi really execute in coming out of the bye week. Said he missed a couple of plays, couple of reads in 2nd and medium. Needs a little bit more from his veteran quarterback. Mitchell steps forward, underneath, and to the outside. Lawler's catch radius on full display that time. Spots it just a little bit shy.
That'll bring out Mark Leggio in the field goal unit with about 3 yards to go.
Leggio coming in 6 for 6. One of 2 kickers yet to miss a field goal attempt this season. This one comes from 37 yards away. There's 21 successive field goals. CFL's longest entering week number 4. He's also taken over as the Tiger Cats all-time field goal percentage leader at 89.1%. Well, bump that up a few percentage points as the kids are into it. And the Tiger Cats extend their lead with 6 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter. The CONCACAF Gold Cup continues Sunday as Canada plays Guatemala in the quarterfinals. Coverage gets underway at 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on TSN.
Enthusiastic crowd here in the Hammer tonight.
As they grind their way into the middle of that defense, led tonight by Devin Verzuk, coming in 2nd overall pick. Great athletic ability. First couple of weeks, he's in training camp. Asked head coach Scott Milanovich, hey, what do you think of me? He goes, listen, it's pretty good. He's like, that's all I can say, okay? You guys will find out, okay? The more you watch him, you'll find out. But, I'm not going to bump his ego. I'm just going to say, pretty good player. There's a reason we took him 2nd overall. Seeing that here as he gets to start at middle linebacker. Claude Bethel Thompson throws it to the outside. Sean Thomas Erlington couldn't fall underneath. Gets away quick flip of possession after Montreal can't convert.
I'll credit the job that Hamilton has done against the Montreal run game here tonight. Keeping the Alouettes in those 2nd and long situations. As you can see, making life difficult there for McLeod, Bethel, Thompson and company.
Joseph Zima will send this one away. No pressure on. Dribbles its way down to Isaiah Wooden. And popped out of bounds. Tyrese Beverett. Haven't said his name much on defense here tonight, but all over the place on special teams as usual. Sean Thomas Arlington, sturdy hands, but arms just not long enough. 11-7, Hamilton leads. On Wednesday, the Hamilton Sports Group announced that Marwan Hage had bought a minority stake in the ownership group who's run the Tiger Cats and CPL franchise Forge FC since 2022. There's the big man. That man in the middle of the Tiger Cats offensive line over a 10-year career, taken out of the second round 2004 at the University of Colorado. But stellar career, even better person, and a very successful businessman, which means he can be involved in the ownership group.
Yes, absolutely. Pretty cool to see here in the Canadian Football League, a former player getting involved in team ownership.
Bo Levi Mitchell pumps to the left, rolls to the right. Bo, just one carry this season for 11 yards. Picks up a little bit there on first down. But Hage, certainly one of those players of the past of the Hamilton Tiger Cats that fans still resonate with. And you know he'd love to play in a building like this after spending his career at Ivor Wynn for all these fans. And for a quarterback like Bo Levi Mitchell as well, as when he was here, there was a lot of younger quarterbacks that rolled their way through the system.
Marwan, a fixture at center for many years.
Mitchell rips it out, throws it away from Marc-Antoine Dequoy, once again playing low in and around the boxes. Kenny Lawler gets up, wincing a little bit on that left shoulder. And 89's in a little discomfort after jumping out to his left-hand side to make this grab.
Tight to the formation this time. He's the one taking advantage of a little bit of space underneath. Just a quick hitter there, but he's...
It looks simple, but in week 4, those are the feel throws you need to convert on second and medium. And Mitchell and Lawler on the same page that time around. As now they'll hand it off. Darnell Sankey doing what Sankey does, tracking it down from the backside. No chance for Johnny Augustine.
Hamilton trying to get back to that run game that was so successful for them at the end of the first half. Johnny Augustine seemed to get a little bit of momentum going for this team. Taking the Lions' share of the reps at running back here thus far.
Bo working the line of scrimmage right now. Little muddle huddle. Tons of communication at the line. Needs all of it on 2nd and 9. Look for the quick little screen to the left-hand side. Get into the hands of Keandre Smith. Works to the outside. Gets pushed out of bounds. Need to get to the 50. They'll spot him a few yards short immediately. Out comes the punting unit. Same spot of the field that they faked it earlier, but not expected back-to-back trickeration here.
Yeah, it'll certainly be interesting to watch the adjustment by Montreal after the fake. Wait to see if the Alouettes have a couple of rushers keeping eyes on Constantino here, not turning their backs to get back and block before he kicks the ball.
Cabianento finishing off the play that time, and Montreal special teams came after it a little bit. Don't get there, but a little pressure as James Letcher Jr. Solid return out to the 30-yard line. The Montreal Alouettes without Davis Alexander, who begins his career 7-0, leading on McLeod Bethel Thompson, but trying to come back down 4 here late in the third. It's only late in June, but the physicality is ramping up. It's caught Luke Wilson's eye down at field level. Luke?
You know, Marshall, at the end of the day, it hasn't been the most electric game, as we keep saying. But I like this saying. It's called the body craves contact, and that's what football's all about. So let's just show some big hits. And there's been a few of them in here. And I'll be honest, it's come from both sides. Again, a little check down around here. Devin Beresuk, pride of Windsor, Ontario, Holy Names High School product. Unbelievable play there. This was unbelievable on the goal line. Boom! I mean, this is the stuff that makes the game so fun. You get a sack, we're spinning boys around. Like I said, the body craves contact. The boys are playing downhill tonight. It is physical. It is a nasty game. Hope we can get a little breakout here going into the late third, fourth quarter.
Luke, I got to ask you, as a Windsor guy, who are some of your favorites from your hometown?
I'll tell you, the guy who is the least talked about, who is an epic football player, is Tyrone Crawford. Long time with the Cowboys. Unbelievable human being. Has done a lot for the community. So I got to go Tyrone as my main guy.
Big interception.
Speaking of Windsor.
On cue.
Let's go.
Hey, Luke, you want to change your answer?
Hey, he just jumped me and Tyrone with that play. Lift this building up. I couldn't be more excited for Devin.
What a way to begin your career in the starting lineup for Devin Beresuk.
holding on to that one. It turns out all you have to do is get Luke Wilson to shout out your hometown, and magically the ball appears in your hands.
Well, take a look here. Deflected ball. He's got two receivers crossing. You saw he looks like he's looking for Rambo on the check down as Tice is coming underneath. Throws up an arm and pops that ball up in the air. Devin Varasek says, thank you very much.
Almost reminds me of an old clip I saw of Bill Belichick, one of those Patriots documentaries. The rare time they let a camera in the building where he said, you see this? You see how excited we are for each other? That's how I know you guys actually like each other. Look at the veteran Deshaun Amos skipping to the end zone to go celebrate with the rookie, the second overall pick. You see Stavros Katsantonis making sure he picks up the football. No, we got to keep this. It's his first career major. Look at him hugging coming off the sideline from Casey Sales.
Yes, sir. Awesome moment for Devin Varasek and the Tiger Cat defense. There's Devin Varasek, your middle linebacker. You're going to get a check down route from Rambo underneath. And watch Tice coming from the backfield, check release. He thinks the ball's coming to him. It's not. But it just flashes. He puts a hand up. That tips the ball up in the air. Devin Varasek, right place, right time.
What a feeling for him to make a play here at home in primetime. Friday night football, under the lights, professional ball with the Canadian flag on his uniform on Canada Day weekend. Fletcher Jr. to the outside, continues to force the issue with the coverage unit as we welcome in viewers from TSN3 that were watching the U.S. Senior Open men's action into Hamilton with a suddenly 18-7 game. Trying to figure out how Hamilton stacked up 18 points. The Lawler major. You got Varasek into the end zone. Tag on a couple of special teams points here and there.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the challenges for the Hamilton Tiger Cats in 2024 in terms of the construction of their roster was they didn't have a lot of depth in terms of Canadians. And you look at the touchdowns that they've scored tonight. Devin Varasek, obviously, with that one on defense. But the other one largely manufactured by Johnny Augustine.
Philpott makes the grab there as Montreal gains a little momentum. But you're right, like the moving pieces and bringing over Canadians and free agency and Ted Gavaya's effect as well on this roster and trying to change things up and add to the depth and the top end talent.
Yeah, no question. It seems like a little thing, but for the last couple of years in Hamilton, largely in terms of that Canadian content outside of a guy like Revenberg on the offensive line, obviously David Beard here the last couple of years as well. But you're talking about Stavros Katsantonis and Keandre Smith. Now getting big-time contributions from other non-linemen.
Double Thompson looks outside to Cole Speaker, and on second and short, Montreal tried to get aggressive with it. Can't go, so Caleb Evans will check in on third and short. As the Alouettes, undefeated to begin this season, and headed towards the fourth quarter with what will be a deficit.
One of the big things, and we talked about it down the stretch last year about the Montreal Alouettes, they're a team you don't want to fall behind. One of the stats that really stood out to me about them last year was in the regular season, they were 8-1 if at any point in the game they got a 2-score lead on anybody. They get ahead and they're great closers.
Well, you could tell as the flag comes up here in short yardage and Caleb Evans makes his way off the sideline that Scott Milanovic understands so well, as Evans will actually stay in on the snap, what the Montreal Alouettes are about. He said this week, great scheme, confused the quarterback. Jason does a great job showing the guys how to play hard. They hit the waggle hard, They climb on defensive backs. They snap out of their breaks. And then he just simplifies it and goes, okay, guys, here's the thing. Team makes a single mistake, they pounce, all of a sudden you're down 17.
There are 2 offsetting penalties on this play. We have offside on offense and offside on defense. Replay 3rd down.
We'll redo the last play, but to Milanovic's point, they've been able to avoid the make the mistake, get pounced on, be down 17. They've survived here into the 4th quarter. If you're not in the game, if you're not within a single score, a 2-score game, a 10-point game with Montreal headed to the 4th, it's really hard to try and come back on that.
Yeah, I mean, it is not surprising when you know Jason Moss that his team has great killer instinct.
Caleb Evans pushes forward. Devin Fairsook right there in the middle. Trying to turn him around. There's one more play remaining here in this 3rd quarter. 18-7. Hamilton with the lead, and they do pick up the 1st down.
Looks like Caleb Evans staying in here. It'll be interesting to see what kind of package has been put together for him, or if he's...
I feel like this is the Paul Lavallee school of the original Strevler days. Hey, if you go earn me the 1st down, you can stay in for a play or 2.
Yes.
Why not? Earn it. Get your snaps. Go hand it off inside. Travis Tice running hard all the way down to the 40. Katsantonis from his free safety spot as a flag comes in at the end of the play. Tice in his 1st year to South Dakota, stand out in the preseason, earned the roster spot. Is down by 11 points. We'll start at the flag on the other side, but the Alouettes trying to climb their way back into this one. Last week against Edmonton, Owls allowed an unusual 2 passing touchdowns and 22 points in the 4th quarter. Their defense will try to step up, but can the offense answer? We find out in Q4 next. The numbers after 3 quarters of play here in the Hammer. You see the net yards for the Hamilton Tiger Cats significantly higher than the Montreal Alouettes have allowed throughout this early season. It's a well-rounded effort from the Alouettes that has got them to the win column 3 times already through 3 weeks. What does Hamilton have to do to close the door and finish this one off, Dwayne?
Yeah, it sounds so basic, but I mean, continue what they have been doing, limiting the Alouettes on 1st down, force them into 2nd and long, little bit of pressure, make MBT get the ball out of his hands more quickly than he wants. So often, receivers aren't able to get to 1st down depth if there's a little bit of pressure getting after him. You know, obviously you get into this situation. This is something you want to avoid. Stavros Katsantonis charged with a taunting foul there, giving the Alouettes a few extra yards. So discipline, certainly a consideration here as well. Don't give them anything for free.
Final play of that 3rd quarter springs Montreal's offense into significantly better field position as Caleb Evans stays in the ball game once again. This time rips it to the sideline. Incomplete. 2nd down and 10. Looking for Tyson Philpott.
McLeod Bethel Thompson checks back into the huddle. Certainly a quiet night so far for Tyson Philpott, one of the go-to guys in this Alouette offense.
Expect to see a lot more from him in late game situations as they lean on their top Canadian receiver. Bethel Thompson steps forward, sees an opening, decides to take off, and going nowhere on 2nd and long. It almost looked like they dialed up a quarterback draw based on the offensive line here, Glenn.
Yeah, it sure did. And watching the receivers as well. Sort of clearing out the backfield, try and pull people out of the box. You know, and again, interesting call within the chess match, the mind games, coaches trying to outthink each other, that you take Caleb Evans out of the game, put McLeod Bethel Thompson in to run the quarterback draw. The opposite of what you would expect, certainly.
Jose Maltos knocking him through once again here tonight. 2 for 2 in his 6th year in the Canadian Football League. And 3rd here in Montreal. This one comes from 34 yards away. Zima gets it down, and Maltos smooth as ever. This is Davis Alexander, not in the lineup tonight, but still working hard on the sideline alongside head coach Jason Moss. And, well, there's a young Davis Alexander learning his way through the early days, settling in, trying to figure out E equals MC squared. How do I get to the formula that equals an undefeated start? Well, 7-0 he's been able to reach so far, and climbing up through the ranks. He would have loved to have had the opportunity to take on Bo Levi Mitchell. You know that here tonight. I asked Bo this week what's the advice he would give to a quarterback who's young and 7-0. He said, just don't worry about all the wins. Just don't think of it. Just keep playing. Just whatever you're doing is working. Just focus on that.
One game at a time.
Davis certainly on fire last week before he left. Was 20 of 24 against the Elks. And Bo Levi Mitchell signs of life here for Shamar Bridges. Wondering where he's been a little bit more often early on in the season after Kenny Lawler comes over, gets so much of the attention, but Bridges, nice grab that time.
Yeah, and Bridges playing a lot of his snaps on the wide side of the field with Lawler and Tim White playing into the boundary a little bit closer to the quarterback, but no doubt ways for him to get more involved in this offense will evolve as the season goes on.
Offense still feeling itself out with the addition of Lawler. Tendencies, where to go, how often to go to that spot. The running game, certainly without Greg Bell, looks healthy as ever with Johnny Augustine being the lead back here tonight. A couple of carries here and there from Trayshawn Ward, but Augustine's really been the lead throughout the evening.
And Johnny Augustine, really a great story when you look at his career. Guy who was undrafted after being kind of a stud at the combine.
Well, you can tell the physical build. He's got a lot of attributes. As on 2nd down and 2, they go back to Augustine. Somehow continues to push his way forward. Ball popped out at the end after they had whistled the play dead. And we'll see where they spot it. 1st down, Hamilton.
Yeah, I said earlier Johnny was from Niagara Falls. Attended Notre Dame Secondary School in Welland. Same school as Chris Van Zyl.
Yeah.
Long-time Tiger Cat, so I don't want to offend anybody in Welland.
White sprints out wide. They'll go with a quick screen to him. Both throws it behind as a turn and grab it, and Burns got popped out of bounds. DeAndre Smith, what a block out in front. Also, good job by Colton Woodmansey getting out down the field. A couple of Guelph guys helping out that time between Smith and Woodmansey, trying to free up Smith.
Yes, sir. Johnny Augustine, another former Griffin, chipping in on the drive.
Andre working downfield. Now with the lead, Bo content to work the line of scrimmage a little bit. Almost hit the front side of DeAndre Smith as he went cross-ball motion. As the play wraps up with Augustine rolling his way forward.
A relatively conservative approach for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Has served them well so far in this ball game. Keep it simple. Try to avoid the mistakes that Montreal has been so good at forcing. Not just through the first part of this season, but really through Jason Moss's tenure as head coach.
They roll inside 10 minutes remaining in the ball game. 8-point advantage. Bo Levi Mitchell nearing win number 100. Working slowly at the line of scrimmage. Now comes to life. Bricks to the outside. Tells Augustine to get upfield. He does. Beats Jeffrey Kenton-Arcou to the 1st down marker, and they'll move the sticks for the black and gold once again.
Johnny Augustine lines up to the left. He's just going to hit that flat. 3 release out there. Does a nice job dipping that inside shoulder and knifing upfield after he catches the football. to pick up that first down.
I think Johnny knew he was getting the football. As he was running to the flat, his right hand came back and he was cleaning his glove on his towel. He's like, oh, yeah, this one's mine. Saw the coverage, went, yeah, that's me.
Veteran move.
Mid-play, mid-route. Mitchell keeps it on the fake. Rips it outside. And Litre quickly tackled. As the Alouettes get a decent stop here. Limit the gain for Hamilton, but it sets up once again another second and medium for Bo Levi Mitchell to use his veteran savvy and execute at the line of scrimmage.
Tiger Cats looking to turn this into a 2-possession ball game.
Yemi Berglund would love to get into the backfield and disrupt Bo here. They drop everybody out, and it's caught, chopped down along that sideline. We haven't said his name very much, but Trayshawn Ward makes the grab. Dobson celebrates with him along that sideline, and it's 1st and goal.
And Mitchell doing a nice job here. As you called it, Marsh, just a 3-man rush. They're sort of going to drop everybody back, set up a wall across the goal line, try to come forward and make a play.
One of the things that Loa Ugrak made his name on that Montreal defensive line with was knockdowns too. You see how high Bo had to throw that one over the jumping, outstretched arms of Ugrak. And again, Mitchell trying to dissect things. Flat line coverage from the Alouettes, showing nothing. Everybody's coming. Bo's throwing. Touchdown. One to Lawler. Now another to White. And both of the Ticat star receivers have reached the end zone here in week 4.
Yeah, again, attacking that flat against man coverage as you get down in the goal line situation. This time it's just a little bit of a rub for Tim White. White right at the bottom of your screen. He's going to go to the flat. Lawler, by taking that inside path, just impacts the man in coverage, Najee Murray, as he attempts to chase Tim White to the outside.
Tim White, who leads all Hamilton receivers since Bo Levi Mitchell's arrival to the Tiger Cats, now has a dozen touchdown receptions from Mitchell. And Bo is up to 239 yards passing. He sits just 98 away from 40,000 in his career. This one into the waiting arms of Tim White as Hamilton extends their lead on Friday Night Football. 9 plays, 70 yards, and 451. And Bo Levi Mitchell just kind of picking apart this Montreal defense, but not having to do it by ripping it over the top, taking the home run shot. It was checkdowns, crossers, little out routes. Good decisions across the board from 19.
Well, yeah, much of the storyline of the Bo Mitchell, Scott Milanovich couple of years here in Hamilton has been about Bo being willing to take what's given to him, and he's done it here tonight, really to the point of perfection.
Scott Milanovich said this week he knows they're in a better place than they were this time last year in terms of him and Bo seeing the game the same way. And that's certainly on display on that drive as his return Travis Tice this time. Rolling his way through a couple of attempted tackles. Hard to bring down. Montreal needs more of that if they're going to climb their way in, down 15 points with an undefeated record here in Hamilton. CFL Canada Day weekend action returns tomorrow as the Lions take on the Rough Riders. AJ Ouellette, Keon Hatcher's been extremely active early on in the season. Catch all the action 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN and CTV as well. As Saskatchewan looking pretty good right now.
Good, Larry David. Pretty good.
The Lions have got a battle on their hands, I think, in that one. We'll see how it turns out. As Cole Speaker rumbles his way across the 50-yard line. Evan Beresuk with the interception earlier. Pick 6 in his first official start for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Makes the tackle.
A pretty good field position right away for the Montreal Alouettes. Cole Speaker breaking a couple of tackles to pick up that first down.
Impressive chasing it down from the backside, but good chunk that time for the Alouettes passing attack as Bethel Thompson stands in, strong arm. He just flat-footed that one all the way to the wide side. Tyson Philpott waiting for it out there and able to beat coverage. Philpott knifes his way. Looks like for a gain of 8 yards on the play. 2nd down and 2. Playbook wide open here in Hamilton territory.
And here we're going to look at that throw you were talking about. 65 yards wide is the Canadian field. Bethel Thompson muscles that one all the way out to the sideline.
Gotta love staring it down to the slot back and then just rip it as far as you can out to the sideline. This time he'll look over the middle, running through coverage. Cole Speaker makes the grab. Katsantonis did everything he could to pop it loose, but Speaker onto his feet, and Davis Alexander loves it watching on.
Yeah, we'll get a good look here at McLeod Bethel Thompson just waiting for the window to open up to throw this ball. Cole Speaker's going to come from the left side of your screen. Let him pass that defender right between the linebackers down the middle of the field. Nice timing play between quarterback and receiver.
Alouettes net offense first in the CFL at 406 yards per game so far this season through their 3 victories. Right now sitting at 212 yards, much less, but doesn't matter if they get into the end zone. Taking a shot here. Outside hand, Charleston Rambo couldn't hang on to it. Incomplete. 2nd and 10.
And Bethel Thompson standing in with the pocket closing around him. Looking to take that shot. Alouettes with a nice response drive thus far. Trailing by 15. The clock working against them a little bit here right now.
You know, Jason Moss and Anthony Calvillo will stay aggressive against a 4-man rush. Bethel Thompson, pressure on somehow, spins away from it, gets popped as he throws into traffic. Incomplete. And McLeod gave his body up on that one to try and make the throw as he pops up onto his feet.
Yeah, great escape here by MBT with the reverse pivot out of trouble here. Takes a shot as he throws it just off the fingertips of Cole Speaker. Mario Kendricks already with a sack in this ball game. Almost.
Starting to see the raw power of Kendricks. That time just blowing Pierre-Olivier Lestage off his feet. McLeod Bethel Thompson over the middle, and this one is complete for a 1st down. Goal to go now as Tyson Philpott rolls towards the end zone where he had an iconic Grey Cup touchdown.
And a rather clutch catch here for the BC native. Bethel Thompson finding a little bit of a rhythm here late in the ball game. Again, precision throw there from the veteran QB.
Simple concept, terribly difficult throw. Bethel Thompson makes it look simple. Earns a 1st and goal. They'll roll the pocket all the way to the right. MBT hit as he throws, pops it up in the air. Incomplete.
Yeah, didn't like what he saw on the front side moving to his right. Made that dangerous throw across his body. Looked like it was intended for Charleston Rambo coming from the backside. You see all the flow here is to the right. Can't get a receiver open. Rambo is kind of the trailer coming all the way from the backside.
Philpott splits out to the top. Rambo to the bottom. They'll flip and flop the slot backs here. As Bethel Thompson with 7-man protection rips it up for Cole Speaker. Touchdown Alouettes. Some momentum with 4:10 remaining.
The Alouettes are going to go for one here. This has become one of those philosophical debate questions, right? Scoring a touchdown after trailing by 15. You go for one first, you go for two first. They're going to go for the kick with Maltos.
This Hamilton crowd on a Friday night into it on the Tim White touchdown. Old Speaker and the Alouettes offense has answered back as McLeod Bethel Thompson, 36 years young, answering shot for shot 35-year-old Bo Levi Mitchell as the vets go back and forth here in Hamilton. What an answer from the Montreal Alouettes, orchestrated by McLeod Bethel Thompson, who, just like Bo Levi Mitchell a drive ago, just good decision after good decision, arm strength, accuracy, and found a way.
Yeah, a lot of Tyson Philpott and Cole Speaker going to work on that drive. Multiple catches from each of those guys. Fittingly, it's Speaker. Fake to the corner, back to the post. Touchdown.
Speaker thinks they're getting the football back soon, keeping those legs nice and warm. Also probably trying to work a little bit of the lactic acid out, because it is a steamy one here in the Hammer. As we head late into the fourth quarter, trying to avoid any cramping. But these legs fresh as ever as Isaiah Wooden Sr. rolls his way across the 40-yard line. Bo Levi Mitchell returns. This is always, you talked about philosophical question. Do you go for two? Do you take the single at the Montreal touchdown? This is the first time this season we've seen the Hamilton Tiger Cats with a lead late in the ball game. How aggressive are you? How do you manage the huddle, the ball at the line of scrimmage? A lot of things we haven't seen so far.
Yeah, veteran quarterback in Bo Levi Mitchell. You trust the clock management. Obviously want to eat up as much time as they can here.
We'll begin with a throw. Off play action. Tim White makes his way forward. Looks like a gain of 8. Second down and 2 coming up.
But a one-score game, 3.5 minutes to go. Plenty of time in the world of Canadian football. There's
timeout, Montreal.
A line that has...
Please reset the game clock to 3:02.
Always stuck with me going back to Mark Trestman, such a great coach in this league. His first year, one of the things that Mark used to talk about all the time, how hard it is to finish games, to close games out in Canadian football.
Well, there's a man that's done it a lot. Jason Moss, win percentage with the Alouettes at .679. Only one head coach in Montreal history since 1946 has a higher team winning percentage than Moss. It's Dave Ritchie. And Moss is currently higher than Don Matthews in his time in Montreal as well. You see that entire Alouettes 12-man defense staring at the sideline for the signal from Noel Thorpe. Would love for them to find a way to get a turnover and give their offense another possession here as soon as possible. On 2nd and 2, going nowhere. Sean Oakman at the bottom there next to Darnell Sankey.
Yeah, that to me was a big second down play. Hamilton did a great job to put themselves in a favorable position. The 8 yards they gained on first. The Montreal defensive line.
Wall Uguak slashing down. Didn't get a tackle for loss, but certainly changed the direction of that play for the Hamilton Tiger Cats. And the offense stays on right now as they eye this one down. And how brave does Hamilton want to be? Scott Milanovich with a decision to make, because we've hit the 3-minute warning here on Friday Night Football. Well, Hamilton with a big third down decision to make. As of right now, the offense still on the field. They have reported an extra offensive lineman. And so Scott Milanovich believes they can go and get this a yard off the ball. Certainly be a talking point if Montreal gains possession on Hamilton's side of midfield inside the 3-minute warning.
Well, Montreal with a big third down stop in similar territory on the opening possession of the ball game. Their short yardage defense has been very good to open this 25 season.
Alouettes line up a yard off the ball into Litre under center, and a flag comes up on the snap, and with somebody off, as referee Richie Miller communicates with the CFL Replay Center to get the call correct. It didn't look like anybody from the Alouettes was offside from our view. Is this against Hamilton?
Offside, Hamilton number 84.
Wow.
That's a 5-yard penalty. Repeat, third down.
He's on the edge.
Right on the end. Take a look at the hand. The tight end, Giovanni Robinson. Just a little too far forward.
Oh, that's a game changer, no doubt. They just picked up a first down, and you called it, Dwayne. Shot right down the line from our tremendous CFL and TSN crew. Fans don't like it, but hand looked like it was ahead of the football. And Milanovic going for a walk down the sideline. Doesn't pull out challenge flag or anything to change the result, though. So Nick Constantino hammers this one down, basically to the 10-yard line. Now Letcher gets chased down as he's driven backwards. What a great job by the special teams unit of the Tiger Cats. Tyler Turnowski, what a play, a big special teams play, and now the Hamilton defense needs some big plays down the stretch as well. Luke, what are you seeing?
Marshall, you just said it, and I think it's fitting that Hamilton's defense is going to be the key right now to finishing this game off. Is really, they've done it all so far. They've held a great offense. Granted, the Alouettes starting quarterback isn't playing, but they've done a tremendous job. They've created turnovers. This was early in the game. The high point this fall, it's unbelievable. We've gotten pressure. Couple sacks here, and again, it's been ferocious. They've been in McLeod's face all day. They've really stopped the run, which has been nice. And then, again, back to the pride of Windsor, Ontario. Little tip, we got 7 points. You're up 8, your defense scores 7, and you've only given up 17 points against a Jason Mosslow. Oh, and here we go.
And a wild play into the end zone. Hamilton's on it. Julian Hauser, touchdown.
A Montreal team that bread and butter is forcing its opponents into mistakes.
At the end of the day here, boys, I think Hamilton just needs my mic to be hot. Every time my mic's hot, defense is scoring points. I mean, we're 2 for 2 right now.
We can't let you up in the booth then, Luke. It's the endless defensive touchdowns.
Yeah, that's a tough one there, though. Again, if you're McLeod, you're thinking we're coming out here, we're making plays, we don't handle the snap. That's a real tough pill to swallow, especially after the stop you just got.
Yeah, big special teams play. Sets it up, Tyler Turnowski. You know, Tyler Turnowski was one of the leading receivers in the country at the University of Waterloo. This was not a guy who in college was asked to play a lot of special teams. He's transformed his game to suit the role that he's been asked to fill here in Hamilton. That was a massive play.
Went from the 15-yard line, essentially. The kick from Constantino drives to the 10. Turnowski chases down Letcher Jr. back inside the 5. And it just changes everything. We saw the difficulty earlier for Montreal operating inside their own 5, and it strikes once again.
And we'll take a look. Bethel Thompson is ready for the snap. It's just off center a little bit. Deflects off to the right. Julian Hauser kind of boxes out the Alouette quarterback. Shielding that football and hauling it in. Wasn't going to be happy with a safety. He wanted that second defensive score. An Alouettes team, again, that prides itself on scoring points on defense. Sees the opposition's D get 2 tonight.
Julian Hauser, multi-sport star athlete back in high school. All kinds of athleticism, tons of different interests. And he makes the big play late in the 4th. Creates a 14-1 points off turnover advantage for the Hamilton Tiger Cats.
I'll tell you what, the Tiger Cats don't have a marquee pass rusher per se. You know, Casey Sales, a guy he gets his share of sacks, but as a unit, they've done a nice job tonight.
Piecing it together, just like this special teams group that has been all over James Letcher Jr. And so McLeod Bethel Thompson, it's not a pick six, but almost feels just as bad late in this game. He worked so hard to drive the length of the field. 8 plays, 60-plus yards in 4 minutes. Scored the touchdown to Cole Speaker. 1 snap later, boom, gone.
Now they find themselves in the same position they were in about 5 minutes ago, with 5 less minutes to get the job done.
Well, 2:15 away from Hamilton's first victory at home in June since 2019. As this one goes to Regis Sibasu. Berzuk right there to bring him down once again, showing off the sideline to sideline speed. And Bo Levi Mitchell starting to think about celebrating win number 100. Fastest to ever do it in the Canadian Football League as a quarterback.
For a little help from his defense. Try and close this one out. He is just not giving up yardage in big chunks if you're the Ticats D.
Bethel Thompson looking for the home run, and it's incomplete. Tyler Sneed running between the coverage there, supplied by Stavros Katsantonis.
Yeah, you're going to see, given the situation, Katsantonis is playing deep in the middle. As I said, looking to avoid giving up anything in big chunks. Clock is your friend when you're the Hamilton Tiger Cats right now.
Tyson Philpott listening in closely as Travis Tice and Regis Sibasu last to break the huddle. 2:02 remaining, play clock down to 4. McLeod asks for the snap quickly and receives it. Has time and underthrows this one. Was looking for Philpott. McLeod asking for a penalty down the field as well. Thought there was some contact. Frustrated going to the sideline, and Jason Moss, without having seen it, rips the challenge flag out. Only needed one look with his own eyes, it appears.
Montreal is challenging that there was defensive pass interference on their player number 85. The play will be reviewed.
So Tyler Sneed, one that Moss is taking a look at, and we'll get another vantage point for you at home.
Yeah, keep an eye on Ray Wilborn, the weak side linebacker. Tyler Sneed's coming out of the slot here. And Wilborn's playing that inside leverage, trying to wall him off. And Sneed tries to make that break back to the inside.
A whole lot of nothing there, no?
I would say, especially given where the ball was thrown as well. Thrown to the outside, the receivers breaking inside.
Well, Ray Wilborn doesn't think anything happened. Here's the call from Richie Miller.
The ruling on the field stands. First down.
So as you were, Bo Levi Mitchell back out onto the field.
And a chance to close this one out, perhaps with the ball in his hand.
Well, this is where we're supposed to say, can he do it in style? You know, throw another touchdown. Add another, 42 yards to the passing total here. Up to 247 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 25 of 31. Nice snap. A bit of an awkward handoff as well. As Johnny Augustine wrapped up by Sean Oakman, slashing his way into the Tiger Cats backfield.
Tiger Cats obviously playing it safe here. Johnny Augustine's had himself a nice night carrying and catching the football for the Tiger Cats. I think he's a guy who really has been a bit of a catalyst in this ball game, sparked them on an offensive drive that resulted in a touchdown late in the first half.
They're back into the belly of their running back. 300 yards in each of the 2 losses Hamilton had. Oh, now a late flag comes out as Sankey is going to give up some free yardage here, it looks like.
And you don't love that from a Montreal point of view when your defense has made the stop.
Hey, watch the water.
Saw a Tiger Cat's body go flying. I'm not sure if it was theatrics or Sankey really caught him.
Well, we'll take a look. There you see Darnell Sankey, Nate Dumoulin-Duguay.
Put his hands on him, but I'm not sure it was.
There you see the 2 of them having a bit of a wrestling match.
Bang! Gotta love the eyes of Isaac Adeyemi-Berglund with all that paint on his face. He turns around, you can tell he's going, Darnell, you didn't. Did you?
There are 2 penalties on the play. Unnecessary roughness, Montreal number 1. And an objectionable conduct, Hamilton number 61. Second down.
A diving call on an offensive lineman. That's a hard one to live down.
Yeah, I think he may be buying chicken wings.
Correction, it's a first down.
Chicken wings for the O-line room on rundown day.
Yeah. So the first-round pick for Hamilton from last year's draft. We get one more look at the acting job of Nate Dumoulin-Duguay. I mean, he had the head thrown, he had the hands. It was all there.
He sold it. He was committed.
Method actor. A minute 33 remaining. 32-17. Storms that were in the forecast held off for the Hamilton Tiger Cats to put up 32 points against the Montreal Alouettes. And the officials blow this one dead for a moment.
Look like they're trying to sort out the spot down there, perhaps.
And they'll whistle it in. Levi Mitchell ready to move to 8-6 career against the Montreal Alouettes. And there's a handoff here. Going nowhere. Darnell Sankey, tired of standing around for as long as he was. Went back to his usual job of hunting the football.
And no doubt Johnny Augustine, toting the rock in this situation, has been warned. Montreal is a team that in the first quarter of a 0-0 game is aggressive going after the football. You know they're coming after it here. Trying to punch it, rip it, do anything they can to try and regain possession of the rock.
Well, Sankey lost a chin strap on the bottom. He also popped one off of Augustine's helmet on the top. So Johnny will play with 3 of the 4 done up. Gets the football again. He's trying to outrun everybody, but minimal gain. And Augustine earning every little bit of it late in this game, trying to grind some clock with Hamilton leading 32-17.
So despite having possession on the 34-yard line, that will be Mark Leggio on to attempt the field goal.
Trying to continue his streak at 22 straight right now, at 15 straight makes to end 2024. He's got 7 straight going here in 2025. Oh, it started to the left, came back and tucked in tight to the uprights. So throw 3 more on the board as Devin Verazuk, game-changing play in this one for the 2nd overall pick in the 2025 CFL draft.
Yes, sir. Deflected ball. Verazuk in his first start as the Ticats middle linebacker. Here in his 3rd game, rookie season. Comes up with the pick 6, play of the game. The pride of Windsor, Devin Verazuk.
Found a way to get himself into the mix throughout special teams, training camp, preseason. Knew he'd be getting some reps, maybe be in a package, but with the Hamilton Tiger Cats this week deciding to release Kyle Wilson as he played 51 regular season games here in Hamilton from 2021 to 2025, was the leading tackler as well a season ago for Hamilton with 88 stops. But they had enough confidence in Verazuk. They said, you know what, we can change this, and let's be honest, do change the ratio as well, because they're also going
help to them.
Yeah, they're going with Ryan Baker as his backup and Trevor Hoyt as well out of Carleton as the 3rd string middle linebacker. So they've committed to Canadian at middle linebacker right now, with Verazuk playing leading man in that group. Return from Travis Tice, who they've been kicking it to all night long. And a flag up on this play as well, as Verazuk not only starting middle linebacker, but also still down covering kicks late in the game.
Here he is.
During the return, holding
Running down
Montreal
on
number 24. It's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
You can run as much as you want in the offseason, but those are some heavy legs on a 35-degree Hamilton day after you've been playing middle linebacker against the Alouettes.
Well, and this is it, and especially for Verazuk. You know, the pace, obviously, of the CFL game when you haven't been starting, when you've been playing special teams. You know, he's still working his way into game shape a little bit in that regard.
The East Division standings there. Montreal still at the helm, 3-1. As Toronto and Ottawa will wrap things up here on week number 4. Coming up on Sunday is this one incomplete. Looking for Travis Tice, but got the sense here early on in the season that Montreal was headed towards being untouchable, and Toronto, Ottawa, and Hamilton all struggling early on. Are the Alouettes going to run away with the division again? And all of a sudden, after one game, it is just one game, it is on the road. Make what excuses or reasons you'd like, but certainly the East Division becomes significantly more interesting when you see Hamilton put together a game where Levi Mitchell was very effective, but the explosive plays for the likes of Lawler, White, Bridges still aren't there in the way that we expect them to be when this offense really comes together.
Yeah, you would think that there is still some growth happening as far as the Tiger Cats are concerned. You know, and for Montreal, tough one tonight, but this is a fantastic Alouettes football team.
Levi Mitchell, 100 career victories, triple digits, and the fastest to ever do it. He'll look for 101 next Friday on the road in Toronto, taking on the QEW rival Toronto Argonauts, who as of right now sit winless through the month of June in 2025. But for Hamilton, it's a victory, it's a moment in history, and it's a message sent that they are still alive in this East Division here on Canada Day weekend.
Yeah, Hamilton with what I would call a workman-like effort offensively. You know, they've got some high-powered guys, but that's not what they relied on. Levi Mitchell doing a good job being patient tonight, taking what was there. Defense, taking a page from Montreal's book, made some huge plays, put some points on the board themselves. Devin Verazuk, the pick 6. Julian Hauser, fumble recovery in the end zone. set up by a huge play on special teams. Certainly all three phases contributing in this one. You see a couple of veteran quarterbacks sharing a moment out there.
Appreciative of each other's work as some of the McMaster alumni get their picture taken. And Jacob Zott, Owen Hubert, Jacob Mason as well. And the Hamilton Tiger Cats behind Pigskin Pete. And the home crowd, they get an opportunity to see a victory here at home. Hamilton 3-0 last year off a bye. They pick up right where they left off. An early season bye, but a win is a win is a win, especially against a division opponent. Excited to see CFL action for the rest of Canada Day weekend. For now, we send you off to SportsCenter with Glenn Sheeler and Mark Rowe.